What's going on, guys? It is Madman Plant, and we are back in the studio for another great episode. Let's get closer to each other here. Check this out. Bam! Look at that. I look wonderful, and behind us, you can see all the logos and this wonderful classic harvesting kit, which, if you're going to the American Autoflower Cup this weekend, you could win one of these. And these things are awesome when it comes to saving space and creating opportunity in a small bathroom. These things are the bomb.com. So tonight's going to be an awesome podcast. As I'm really excited to bring out another one of our great sponsors. So with our sponsorship, we have gold, we have silver, we have bronze, and then we have the smoke sponsor. And this sponsor is fitting because every time you go to think about smoking, you can grab one of their tools. And when I had my friend Master Yoda down here, he got to see firsthand how great the CannaScoop actually is. And it's a device made out of PVC, and this is the tool you didn't realize you needed it until it was in your hand scooping your butt. And while he was here, we actually found out that this is great for the venti. So instead of using the top part, which you would normally scoop with, you scoop with that and then you turn it, and this fits perfectly into the venti circle, which allows you to pack that very nicely. And you can just go ahead and wipe right through and you're good to go. So I'm really excited about this. And also, I'm going to be coming to California with a couple of these to hand out to a couple of special people. If you want one, you have to be on the podcast in California at the American Auto Flower Cup. But I didn't want to give these away, and I will have my own personal branded ones very shortly. I've just been so busy, I've actually been following behind my own curve. But I'm really excited to have Charlie on, so let's go ahead and welcome Charlie. What's going on, my dude?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hey, how's it going, Stefan?
How
Not too
you
much.
doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Not too bad. A little sore. I did something on the weekend. Had a fire call, so got a little sore on the weekend. So other than that, no, everything's rolling good. How about you?
Really good actually. So far, one counting down T minus 48 hours until I'm on an airplane to California, which I'm excited about. We just had one of my good friends down here from Connecticut. We've been rocking and rolling. We had a bacterial issue with the system, so we actually had to shut
Oh,
everything down, clear out our bacterial issue. It was caused by my environment, not the system. And it showed me, honestly, the importance. Sometimes in my own garden, I can be a little bit laxed. And deep water culture showed me that no, you really need to pay attention to this. It's not like soil
be
and
on the ball.
cocoa, where soil and cocoa, you kind of get away with the madness. With this, if you don't pay attention to these items, it makes it very frustrating because one, you wind up with a mess, and two, you really have to understand the difference of environment. Like with cocoa and soil, right? There's a lot of times where your environment doesn't have to be necessarily perfect, but as long as you're feeding the soil or you're feeding in cocoa, you can have a little bit of a longevity and resiliency when you, let's say,
Yeah,
forget a couple of things. In deep water culture, if your pH is off, your plants aren't getting the nutrients anymore.
yeah,
With living soil and even cocoa, although pH is important, there's a lot of people that don't even pH and have successful results. In deep water culture, you don't have that luxury. pHing is the number one thing, and it's not an everyday modification, but it is something that gradually increases as you go. So, a couple of
yeah,
days the pH is going up. So most of the times you're pHing down. But one thing is the root zone, and with DWC, it's all about the roots, and
yeah.
having from 68 to 70 degrees, you think, oh, wow, that's two temperatures. Oh, thank you, Lacey. Perfect. Thank you. But actually, this was new. I already had that. Thank you, love. Um, with that, oh, wow, 2 degrees. Doesn't seem like a main difference. Anything over
Oh,
70,
that's the lot.
you're already in bacteria zone. So 73 degrees, which isn't far from 68, you can run into major issues, which I did. And this can be in the form of root rot. This can be a bacterial sludge that looks like a gel-like consistency. Think of like a caulking, or it's kind of like translucent,
Yeah.
but it kind of has that
Yeah.
cloudiness inside of it, all over the net pods. And then you have this brown
Oh
biofilm that
yeah.
got on the air tubes. So it's this like almost like fuzzy looking felt that's just like going in the water. Now, I did find out a good method on how to combat this. What I did was I took a toothbrush and I scrubbed it down, and then I took a fishnet and went in and collected all the biofilm. So that way when I changed out the water, I had already removed it, so I didn't have to, clean out the biofilm with it. And then I used hydrogen peroxide, and I used the UC roots, which is hypochloric acid. And right now, my plants look good. They've been in the system for about 24 hours now. So fingers crossed, we're doing
Yeah.
good.
No, for sure, for sure. So my ADHD brain just jumped in here as you were
Yeah.
saying about the film, biofilm, and all the vegetation and whatnot in there. Would some like fish, some kind of fish, work in a culture like that in the water, where it would be like eating all the algae and stuff?
So you're asking a great question, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know a lot less about this, but I'm going to give you the answer that I best have the information for right now. I think
Yeah.
what you're referring to is called an aquaponics system, not a hydroponic
Okay.
system. So in my system, it's all about sterile. It's being sterile. So I actually am getting a meter that tests how sterile the water actually is. So when you're doing stuff like that with the nutrients, because they're mineral micronized nutrients, I don't think that's going to be the best environment for
Environment for
anything living. And the main thing is
yeah.
because usually when you deal with I was using Hygrozyme. Hygrozyme is a great product, but Hygrozyme is organic. They use chitosan shells. They use a lot of different enzymes. That's great when you're in like cocoa and soil, but a true DWC system, from what I understand, you can't have a lot of those properties that can make the water unsterile. So with that, I think you're referring to a true aquaponic system, and there is actually somebody on social media right now that actually has like this little he has fish in it, and he has plants growing out of it. Some are cannabis, some are like moss. But I have seen that. That is pretty cool. But in my system, it's all about being sterile. And I believe the hypochloric acid, which is the UC roots, which is probably the most important additive to make sure that the system is clean, will kill anything living that would drink it,
for sure.
even me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess you have to keep on the ball with all the pH and stuff. As that root system grows, it probably absorbs more or creates more, and you got to make sure that everything's right. Especially the same with the temperature. I'm guessing as they grow in there, it fluctuates the temperature.
Well, it does, and that's one of the things. I had to get a humidifier because my humidity sucked.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I had to get an AC unit. And with this system, they don't use a water chiller. So this system is designed to be without a water chiller. So what I did is I turned the AC and I pointed it at the system at 68 degrees, which makes the water inside there 68 degrees. And then what I did is I lowered my lights just slightly, and I turned them down, and then I was able to create that perfect environment. So a lot of it too is you may have all the tools and resources, but there's still some MacGyvering and some things that you got to do to really dial it in. Like when I had my tents going, for instance, right? Like there, I had a couple of fans, I had my lights, and then I have a dehumidifier when it gets into heavy flower. Other than that, I kind of set it and forget it. This system, although it is in a way a kind of a set and forget it, every morning I'm checking, the pH, the EC, the water temperature. And then I'm also looking at the root zones to make sure that there's no buildup. Everything looks clean. With the other way I was growing with soil and cocoa, hey, I'll check you in 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. I wish
Oh
I
yeah,
could.
for sure. Yeah, let's open the tent in a couple of days, see how you're growing, and see if there's anything wrong.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tried a tent system with well, it was just regular soil. My first attempt at it, and I think I got a couple of plants about this big, a few feet tall. Not bad. I got a couple good buzzes out of it, but yeah, I'm excited now. Actually, in Manitoba, they just passed the law that we're allowed to grow, so we're legal now to start growing.
I think
And
that's
I'm super
awesome.
excited because I'm gonna, yeah, I really want to learn a lot from what you were doing there. I saw all your videos there. You were talking about your issue with the water. I saw how you had everything loaded up so that you can drain it super quick if needed. So yeah, no, it was super great tips that I'm well, my spot is right there, that big hole up there. That's gonna be where the light system and stuff is. So
Oh, fantastic.
uh,
Are
yeah,
you
so
doing a
and I kind of
room
want to put
grow,
a
or are
big
you
box
gonna
there.
do like an open tent, or what's your plan?
I have a 4x4 tent that
Perfect.
yeah, so I do have that, and some lighting stuff, but yeah, no, like I said, I'm excited to see how the hydroponic one works out, so that the aqua system. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
you're gonna like it. Are you thinking about going with the current culture system like I have, or?
yeah, yeah. You're mentioning some of the well, I went and jumped on the website there, looked at everything, and the pricing is fantastic, so you can't go wrong.
No, you can't. And I'll save you 10% because I'll send you the direct
Yeah,
link. And anybody else that's thinking about current culture, definitely use my link. I'll send it to you directly. My code, Madman Planet, gets you 5% off. The link actually gets you 10% off.
ah, tips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, their entry system, which is an 8 gallon pot, which is very big. If you had a 4x4 or a 3x3, you could easily fill out your space, no problem, in half the time of
Yeah,
soil and cocoa. But for $112, you get the pump and the entire unit that's ready to go right out of the box. And if with my system, it's just around $700, all in one kit, comes with all the parts that you absolutely need. It's definitely a winner for those that want to get started right away, like yourself. Some of the
yeah,
things, you really have to like pick and choose what you want. And then some people are creative. I'm really starting to like these systems that are professionally designed for I just want to grow. So this system is going to allow you to just grow. You don't. It takes a lot of the, well, how am I going to put it together? And now I'm going to even spend more money at Home Depot trying to buy all these pieces to custom make it something when you could just buy a full solution.
yeah. Absolutely. I'm like, well, that's super great price. Like I would have thought it would have been in the $500 range for anything to deal with the hydroponic growing stuff. So I'm super excited. So yeah, no, I'm gonna as soon as I get like we just became empty nesters here, so I took over my daughter's old room. Is now my office. So I'm kind of trying to get everything together here. So that's what the grow room is going to be in here. I'm actually bringing our press in here. All the whole production line for the CannaScoops can be coming down in the office here. So yeah, super excited about that, and absolutely excited to get growing up there. So as soon as we get some desks and whatnot in here, it's gonna start. So
Well, that's one thing, and we can kind of keep diving in, off that topic. Is your daughter's a huge reason why CannaScoops kind of started.
absolutely, yeah. She's actually two of my daughters they uh, started smoking cannabis quite a young age. I wasn't the proudest of it, but my eldest daughter, she suffers from ADHD, is like me, and anxiety and whatnot, and she found that cannabis did help her slow down a bit, and I did notice a little bit in that. So backstory is when I was 19 years old, I tried smoking a few times, and back then there was no regulations to what you're smoking or anything like that. So I had a pretty bad experience, and was never touched it again for a long time. Actually, until I was about 43, I think is when I started. After my daughter got sick, she has an issue with her stomach. It's called cyclic vomiting syndrome. It's basically migraines in the stomach, and she had a hard time in trying to keep everything down. Um, she would vomit all the time, drink water, and just get back up. So it's really hard for her to get her appetite. And the cannabis helped, so she would be able to get a little bit of an appetite, get some nutrients in her, and feel a little bit better for a while. Which got me thinking a bit about my situation. I just came off. I was just had an episode at work for some issues. I went on stress leave. Was laid out pretty good. So, long story short, started talking to my doctor about cannabis after seeing the effects with my daughters. Talked to a couple of friends that used. Actually, one is a recovering alcoholic, and I was absolutely surprised that there was no relapse or anything, and he actually used it to help with the alcoholism. So I learned quite a bit from him, and then the doctors. So went on my journey, and yeah, it's absolutely helped me out in tremendous ways. It's slowed down my mind. I can smoke and really question about things that went on in my past, the traumas, and get through it. So yeah, it's an amazing plant, and I'm so blessed to be able to find it and come up with something that some people find useful.
Yeah, that's one thing that you and I kind of share is I used to be against cannabis too before I kind of started smoking. I started smoking really around 23, and like I actually wanted to be a first responder in the police department, and that didn't work out.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, well, everything happens for a reason, and when I failed my police test by like 2 points, and it's mainly because I just don't know
Oh
the
man.
Constitution that in depth, and a lot of going
Yeah.
to the police exam, it was a lot of questions about the Constitution and like rights, and I just didn't know all of them. So by 2 points I missed, and then one of my friends worked at Domino's, and he smoked, and I was like, hey, listen. So the whole police thing's not really working out, and I was like, I'm just gonna try weed. You smoke weed, and he's
Yeah.
like. And he's like, I'm not selling to you. He's like, you're a cop. And I was like, no, listen, I promise you, it's not working out. And so he did. And I used to
Oh,
get
that's awesome.
paranoid as shit. Like, I cannot sit, sit here and have a conversation with you. I would be in my
Oh,
fucking head, like hearing helicopters and like freaking out and not being able to like sit still. And I was thinking to myself, well, if everybody else smokes weed and enjoys it, then why am I having such a hard time with this, right? So I started smoking on my own and just dealing with it, just trying to deal with my mind, getting through it. And now I smoke religiously 24 fucking 7, which I actually love. But it's one of those things where, I believe that mental health is a huge part of this. And when it comes to psychedelics and other types of mind altering substances, I think that there's a great benefit, but you have to know yourself, you have to be aware of your mental health, and you have to be in the right situation. And that also means like around the right people, the right settings. This whole reefer madness and, oh, it's bad and you're going to jump off the 20-foot building. I've been to Vegas a lot of times, and after parties are usually up in hotel rooms or places, and I've never seen somebody just jump off a building at one of these weed parties. Like I just have never seen it, and it's one of those things where I think as the states allow more legalization and we start to see real change that's happening, we can start to really see the grasp of it's not that serious. I mean, we have a wonderful problem called alcohol that's going on, and we seem to have that under control, right? Because nobody's screwing up their life off of a bunch of coolers, or Mike's Hard Lemonade.
yeah. No, that's.
Surely nobody's been in a car accident in the last 30 days that was drinking, but
Oh, yeah, no.
we'll go ahead with
Oh,
that. But when
I
it
got
comes
good
to
stories about all that
cannabis,
stuff.
yeah, well, that's why I kind of want to dive in. So you're a career firefighter. I was a volunteer
Actually, no,
firefighter.
I'm a volunteer.
Oh, you're a
Yeah,
volunteer. I
I'm
was
a
a volunteer
volunteer fire.
too
Yeah,
for OWO,
yeah.
Occoquan, Woodbridge, and Lorton, station number
Oh,
15.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I'm a volunteer as well. So we have our municipality, Rishot, has three towns that needed firefighting. So uh, Saint Adolphe and Ile de Shane, they already had theirs, and when Saint Agathe, the town I got, moved into about 15 years ago, they wanted to open up one here because we were expanding enough that they needed one. So luckily, I was able to join when the new fire hall came and got my training through them and everything. So I'm not career, but I could. I'm absolutely trained as a career. I could go into the city program if I wanted to. It's just not something I'm interested in. I'm actually a network and network manager for a school division, so I'm a computer nerd.
Nice. Well, the one thing good
Yeah,
about being a volunteer is you don't have to wait for command like the paid firefighters do. So a lot of
absolutely.
times when volunteers show up the scene, they can just go into a building. When the career firefighters show up, they have to get permission to go in. Depending on the structure and everything. So there are some benefits to being a volunteer that
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of fun. Now, mind you, I was a red hat, so I was on the very entry level. I was doing this while I was in college, so it wasn't
nice.
like I'm a true firefighter. I've never been in a burning
Oh,
building and sprayed a hose. Now, I have done life-saving measures with paramedics, like holding
yeah,
C-spine, doing CPR,
yeah.
and other things like that. And actually, this weekend, I actually saved my friend's life while we were hanging out.
Oh wow.
So I have a huge video that's going to be coming out. And luckily, I
Oh
have cameras all over my house in each room that my house. Some rooms have two cameras, um,
yeah.
and everything was documented. And what was happening was my friend was eating pizza, and he choked on a very large sized piece of pizza and swallowed it wrong, and he
Oh
turned
man.
around to me with his hands like this. And in the video, you'll see that it took me a couple seconds to realize what was going on. But I have
Yeah.
never spun a man around so fast and bent him over a table, or I mean, a sink, like I did him, and started dry humping the shit out of him doing the Heimlich
Oh
maneuver.
yeah.
And you see, like when I do it, and as you know, as a first responder, when you do it, it's very violent. And if you watch that
Yeah.
video, it looks like like
But he even
it did not. He's surprised he didn't get any broken ribs. You know what I mean? Because
actually it's very there's a cause you can cause you're supposed to break ribs if you do it properly.
yeah, well, you see me go, phoom, 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 and you can see
Yeah.
in the video a sizable piece that looks like that big drop right into the sink, and you hear, and like right
So
away
scary,
as
man.
it comes out. Yeah, and it's one of those things where that's what I love about you, and other people that even if you just know CPR, you're already a lifesaver. The importance
You,
of
you're
being
you're a
able to
responder.
respond right away. Like, we didn't even call 911. Like, 5
Yeah.
minutes after, we were joking about it. You know what I mean? But it would have
Yeah.
been really
Absolutely.
serious if I was downstairs and I wasn't upstairs near him. So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you, kind of certified hero now. You got a story to go with. I've done it on the job, but
Oh,
I've
absolutely.
never done it in the privacy of my own home to somebody that's visiting. Like, he would have been here literally 11 hours. And the craziest part of it is me, him, and my wife, Lacey, all talked about how people die from choking on pizza like 11 hours prior, which is the weirdest
Oh
fucking
yeah.
thing. Out of all the conversations we could have had, and this is
It happens.
before we ordered pizza, it was just
Manifested it.
insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's scary, man. I
It
actually
was
had
very
we're cut
scary.
from the same cloth. I think we've had the same exact experiences because I had to do the same thing to my father-in-law. He was choking on a piece of steak in our house, and I had to go over him and give him the old highlight, get it out of there.
Hmm.
So, yeah, no, that's a scary, scary event.
Well, it
And
is.
you got the training. You had the red hat on, man. You're still a part of the family. That's the responding family. You're a responder. It doesn't matter if you're red hat, yellow hat, white hat. As long as you got a hat on, you're still in the family.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It just made me feel good because there have been times like when I was paintballing. Now I wasn't doing the CPR, but they did use the CPR mask that I had with me because as a volunteer, I have one of the inflatable ones. So it has an inflatable mouthpiece, and then you can blow
Yep.
into a plastic tube versus the plastic sheet, which I don't recommend. They're only like $12 to like $15 on Amazon, and they usually come in a red case. Mine's in a belt case that you can put on, but I mean that's why I
Yeah.
carry. And I'm gonna order one of the trauma bags to start carrying with me. But that's why I always carry the Narcan, and I'll be bringing this
Oh
with
yeah.
me to California. And what's great is because I was in mental health, a lady gave this to me during my podcast because she knows I talk to people about addiction all the time. So she said if I was ever in an area that somebody was overdosing, now I have the power, which was awesome. And then I've got a lot of
Yeah.
shit for this. How do people around Canada feel about Narcan? Because when I posted about this, there were some very negative comments of saying that people should die. And my thing is, I don't think everybody that does fentanyl wants to die. I think sometimes
Um.
it's an accident. What do you think as a first responder?
Well, as a first responder, absolutely, it's a life saving measure. It's needed. It's the fentanyl problem in Canada is phenomenal. Just like I'm sure it is in the States as well. So the only difference is in the public. Like the public can't carry the Narcan. Only the responders can. So you can only uh, uh, ambulance responders can carry it, I believe, and city firefighters. So we don't use it in our department. We don't have it on any of our trucks, but we don't really deal with that kind of issues around our area either. That's more the city locations.
That's interesting that it's from the city.
Now,
So when
my personal opinion on that is it's a disease. Addiction
yes,
is a disease.
100%.
It's not what they want to be doing. It's to cope with something. It's cope with the trauma. It's to cope with whatever they need to deal with. It's not of their own doing in most cases. So I don't believe that anyone should be upset about saving a life, whether it's an overdose or a heart attack. It's saving a life.
Oh, I agree. And that's why sometimes when you read these comments online, it's like, did we forget that we're still human and this is still a human? We may not agree with what they've done, but at the end of the day, everybody that reserves the the ability, for life, pursuit, and happiness. Because I do agree with you that it is a.
It's learned.
What's that?
A lot of it's learned. I think that, like in our area here, we have a lot of the indigenous population has the addiction issues, but up in Canada, they were taken away from their families at a young age and put into a school with the church and abused and tried to make domesticated. They're traumatized. They never were shown love from a parent. They didn't grow up learning about how to love somebody. So then they get thrown into civilization after school, and they're expected to be able to love their kid or know how to care for a kid or however, which it doesn't happen. So it's a cycle, and it's terrible. So a lot of it is it's not of their own doing. I feel anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I think, there's just like with cannabis, you have thousands of different reasons why people choose to plant. over the medicine or over the alcohol or kind of what they were doing with prior. And I also kind of think so too that with that you're 100% right. They would much rather be putting their lives together. I mean, some of them have kids, and then some of it's mental health, some of it is they couldn't just deal with life anymore. I've never been a true addict in the sense where I've literally fiend for it. Like when I was younger, I had like a little bit of a drinking stage where I drank a lot
No, I have to.
because I was depressed. But I was never a person where like some people, you'd be at a party at 6 a.m. They crack open a warm beer and it's like, bro, yeah, we're kind of done drinking. I think, right? Like, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here for breakfast? Like, how can you do that? It's not
I'd
gonna
rather go to
taste good. It's
McDonald's.
warm.
Exactly. Well, I agree with you. Back when, oh man, I was a drinker back in the day when I actually quit drinking and started smoking cannabis.
Well, let's talk about a little bit
But
about that because
I would lose all inhibitions, man. Like I used alcohol as a mask. So my social awkwardness, right? I'd get to the bar and I'd sit there, I'd be in the corner and I'd look around and my anxiety, I have to see where the doors are. People would be coming at me, stuff like that. And then people would sit there and go, "What's wrong with Charlie? Why is he sitting there?" Right? Until you get that buzz going, and then the wild Charlie comes out, and then the fun guy comes out, and then it's like, oh man, I had so much fun when I drank, right? Like such stupid shit. Made so many people laugh, but all at my own expense. So yeah, and I've dealt with alcoholism pretty much all my whole life. My stepmom is still an alcoholic. My first wife was an alcoholic as well, so that one was tough. Um, yeah, so I've with alcohol for a long time.
so talk about the day in the life of an alcoholic, or sounds like you were a functioning alcoholic, or no?
For me, it was more of an alcoholic, as in I didn't have to drink every day. It's just when I started,
Go ahead.
right, it would just keep going. It would be like I would start uh, feeling that anxiety, and then I'd have my first drink, and I'd feel better, and I'd feel better, and I'd feel better, and by the time it was done, I'd be the only one up, looking around. Everybody else would be passed out. Right, so it'd be like I wouldn't be able to stop myself, and that's what worried me. And that's what I consider myself an alcoholic, is because once I started, it was tough for me to stop.
Now, is it just because there's one more beer and that beer shouldn't be by itself, or is it one of those things where it's like, no, I need this to make sure that I have a good time?
Yeah, it's more that I need this so that I can fit in.
I do agree a little bit with that statement with cannabis. As ADHD, as somebody that's kind of had anxiety, very much so been an outcast a good portion of my life, I do kind of feel like, in a way, cannabis really kind of helps with my confidence and my ability to be social. Because even though I am pretty social and pretty out there are times where I'm at events where I'm like disassociative and just very quiet and not engaged. And it's not because I don't want
Yeah,
to. It's just I don't sometimes even know how to explain it. I just feel certain ways. Would you say that when you're alcohol, you were mostly changing the way you felt versus the actual like love for alcohol and the sociability? Like
oh
it,
yeah, it
so it was
was it
more
was
internal.
definitely not. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the love for alcohol. Like, the next day, you get the blues, right? I sit there and for the next 3 days, and I'd be such in the shit. I just feel like a shit bag going through playing all the dumb stuff that I did, and why would I do that, right?
Yeah.
And then and then I would sit there and be judging why can't I just go there, drink water, and have a good time? Why can't I just still have fun, laugh, joke around? Why do I have to have that mask? Why do I have to bring in the alcohol to start drinking or to start feeling better about myself around people or fitting in? So once I started smoking, it was more the fact that it was like, I'm okay with myself being that way. It doesn't matter. My friends now know who I am. And I know that my friends around me love who I am, and they'll stay around me even if I'm in the corner, not talking because I'm just absorbing everything.
Yeah.
So it
No,
was
with
definitely not the love of the booze. I didn't like it actually. It was a lot of um, uh, replays of childhood, right? Like my dad was a singer. My dad and my stepmom were entertainers, so booze all the time. I would grow up and there would be booze almost every day. It'd be like, "Okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're going for supper. Okay, well, let's get a drink." Um, People are coming over. Okay, well, there's gonna be alcohol involved. So almost everything revolved around alcohol, and it was just I just started questioning why. Why does that have to be? So
so when you were going through this, you didn't smoke at all. So alcohol and
no.
cannabis weren't together. What did you think about cannabis at the time? What was your initial opinion about weed versus being an alcoholic?
Um, it was I was afraid of it. I was afraid of it because of the experience that I had. A lot of my friends would smoke weed. They tried to get me to smoke weed, and they'd smoke around me. I wouldn't scold them for doing it. They could do what they want, but it was more the people close around me. Like my wife now, when we were dating, she came home one day and said, "Oh, after a night out with her girlfriends," and said, "Oh, we smoked last night," and I was like, "I can't believe you did that.
Mm,
Like, you should never do that again, right?"
go to your room.
So yeah, it was more the personal. More the more attached I am to the person, the more concerned I was about it. But friends could do it. They would smoke around me all the time. They would absolutely try to get me to smoke because they thought I'd be the most funny guy ever. That you could sit there and laugh with me. But I just turned it down all the time because I don't know. I just honestly, it was a lot to do with my mom too. She raised me, so I came from a divorced family. She moved me to Alberta when I was about 2 years old from my dad, and she raised me till I was about 14. And she instilled all the values that I have. And one of the values was absolutely drugs were wrong. Drugs are wrong. If you start doing them, you're going to turn into the worst uh, perpetrator ever. You're going to be wanted by the law. You're going to be in jail. All those things. So that's what I was thought. That's what I thought actually when I was 19 years old and I had my first episode. I was so anxious and because I thought the cops were after me just because I smoked one joint. Right. So it was it was crazy. It was paralyzing how scared I was that I was going to get busted.
But you weren't scared of like getting in trouble for drinking, like drinking and
Right.
driving or drunk in public or a domestic
100%.
situation or being out of control. Well, why was, I always bring that up because when I got almost kicked out of the Freemasons for smoking a joint and I had to go down to Grand Lodge, I had to meet with the Grand Master. It was actually like a little
Oh,
court
wow.
case. Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. And, these are all people who go to the bar right after lodge and then they go straight home. Well, drinking and driving, regardless of, how much it is, you're not supposed to be doing it. But, hey, oh, we care about you. We don't want to see you lose your family or your business. And it's like, guys, I was like, I'm having one of the best years. This was like 2017. I was like, I'm having one of the best years of my life in business. And they're like, oh, well, you don't think what we're telling you is important. I was like, no, I think it's a waste of time. I mean, I'm looking at people who
Yeah.
drink 24/7, and you're telling me not to have my poison. Like, how fucked up is that? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't
Yeah.
ask you to stop drinking when we hang out. And it's all because I smoked a joint while they were all smoking cigars. Nobody said anything. And then the next day, they tried to make a big scene out of it, like they were trying to do this for me so I could be better and all this shit. And
Yeah.
it's just funny how people with alcohol, especially those who are not familiar with cannabis, put such a hard flag on it. But it's like, oh, shall we forget what
Well,
God
yeah.
does each year? Like New Year's, right? I always say this 24/7. What happens on New Year's? People drink. And what happens on New Year's Eve?
People
People
die.
die. Do we
Yep.
limit consumptions? Are we checking wristbands to see how many drinks people had? Are we making sure that they didn't drive themselves if they're going to be drinking that night?
Yep.
Are we limiting them to certain quantities, per person? No. But we do that
Yeah.
with cannabis. Like, I can't go in a dispensary and buy more than an ounce of whatever. I have to go in multiple times. But hey, if I want to go to the ABC store, they'll take all my money. I want to buy all the bottles off the shelf. I'm having a party
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Let's get it
Absolutely.
in your trunk for you, sir. You know what I mean? I think it's
Absolutely.
just funny. So, with that being said, your daughter got cancer, correct?
No, it wasn't cancer. She just had issues with her stomach.
Issues with her
She still
stomach.
has this. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
you
called cyclic
found
vomiting
out
syndrome.
she was smoking.
Yep.
So you weren't smoking at the time. You were just drinking, right? So tell me how that goes, because like I said, I used to think that people that smoke weed were dumbasses and got in trouble for stealing. So how does that go, and how does the shift from being against something to okay with it to now you are actually a part of the community in a product and personality sense?
A lot of it had to do with the legalization. So once they started doing the research and bringing out the research, making it available to the public, that's when I started changing my mind. I started doing some of that research, wondering, okay, well, why is the government all of a sudden changing its mind on this? Why is it all of a sudden okay to be able to go and smoke recreationally, just like going and drinking? So uh, with my ADHD and OCD, I kind of got to break things down, and I did a lot of research on it. Uh, got into the difference between the THC and the CBD. That was a big one for me. I use CBD mostly because of the ADHD and pain. I don't really like the head spin kind of a stuff. The problem with Canada is the CBD flower is not really readily available unless you have your medical card. So the medical cannabis dispensaries charge quite a bit more than what the regular ones did. I used to have my medical card, but I quit because it was just way too expensive. They charge 3 times as much than what the dispensaries do in the city. So I try to get as much CBD as I can. If I can, I do smoke the THC. Um, but like I said, I started to learn the difference between the two, what they both were helping with. My daughter did get sick and found out she was smoking. My oldest daughter was smoking, and from that research, I did understand that it had some stuff to do with the mental aspect. Um, from there, like I said, I talked to one of my best friends. He's a recovering alcoholic. He was alcoholic since he was 9 years old, and quit when he was 40. He's, I think, 15 years sober, and he smokes cannabis, and blew me away why he was able to do it without relapsing. So more research into it. So it had to do with a lot with legalization and doing my own research to figure out that the plant isn't the devil. It doesn't make people do ridiculous things. It makes you want to munch down on your cravings rather than go in the back alley and start picking fights with guys. is just so much more beneficial than alcohol. The only good thing alcohol is for sanitizing stuff, in my opinion.
Oh, I gotta get these hotkeys right. Keep pushing the wrong button. But I do agree with you. Although I do like my whiskey, and I do have a very nice
That's
bottle of
fair.
cognac that was given to me as a gift. But personally, I'm not a big fan of like the drunk feeling. I like the high
Yeah,
feeling, and that's
absolutely.
one thing that I
Oh,
prefer
and the hangover
because
is a lot better too.
hangover, poor decision making. There's a lot of things that come in, and when you're somebody that's really trying to put your best foot forward, you know, you just don't want anything, to ruin that. And sometimes you see alcohol, you know, like Morgan Wallen when he threw the chair off the roof of the building. He got fined like $15,000 for that. He had to pay a lot of money,
Yeah,
and that's just the decision he made while he was drinking. So it's like I guarantee the tab did not cost that much, you know. But it's just one of those
right.
things where I think so too is self-preservation. And believe me, I'm not perfect by any means, but just that
Oh yeah,
forward
never mind.
thought of preservation. And when you look at it, I have a neighbor, um, her boyfriend, I guess, whatever it was. He was kind of a friend of ours. He did some stuff around the house. He was like a carpenter. He died last year. He turned yellow because of his liver. He was like shitting blood and in and out of the hospital, and then it was in like a slight coma, and then died. And the body can only take so much, and that's why even myself, like I've been going to the gym with Lacey. I've been just trying to get in shape because, one, as I get older, I'm realizing that it's getting a lot tougher. I was trying to bend down on one of the machines, and I was like, "Holy fuck! I can't even bend down like some of these other people
Dude,
are doing." Like I'm what, and I consider myself pretty in shape. Like what's going on here?
whoa! Rounds of shape, rounds of shape.
I'm not. I'm like the skinny fat. I got a belly, but that's about
Oh, I
it.
gotta.
You know.
I'm a foodie. I like my food.
Yeah, no, I have a love hate with food, and it has to do with textures. That's why I love
Oh yeah.
smoking
Oh
because it honestly just puts me in the mood, and I'm like, yes, okay, now I want to stuff my face. Where before I'll take a couple bites.
yeah. I hear you.
Are you
Oh yeah.
like that?
I've got. I got a texture thing too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
gotta.
Okay, so I'm not
Yeah.
alone.
No, for sure.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
overly,
No. No.
or
No. No.
is
No.
it overly dry stuff that you don't like? Because I can't stand the
Oh
overly
yeah.
dry.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's no. I can't do
Yes.
the dry bun, dry bread, dry. Yeah. No.
No, it has to have something.
For real.
That's why I
Yeah.
do like Panera, because Panera does have a good, mix of, like, yes, they use like really good bread, but all the things that are on it has moisture, so it kind of
Yeah.
melts into the bread. But like
Yeah.
sometimes you're just like, holy fuck, like I'm gonna need like a couple glasses of water.
Oh man. Yeah. Dry stuff. Brutal. Overly soggy. Brutal.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. I'm a picky eater. I'll admit it. My wife gets mad at me.
Are you as weird as I am and wear gloves when you eat certain foods? So there are certain foods like wings, overly greasy food, where I will actually wear gloves because I do not like the way it feels. It makes me feel like blood's running down my arm, and
Oh
I
yeah.
and I don't like that. Because I've had that
I
happen
don't wear
before.
gloves.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't wear gloves, but yeah, I would if I could. I wash my hands constantly. Yeah, like
Okay.
about 4 times. Yeah, as I eat, I'll be up and down to the sink washing my hands and face. So yeah. No, I
Yeah.
don't. I like don't like things on my fingers, sticky on my fingers. That's kind of why I came up with the CannaScoop. Actually, it's because the feeling of the cannabis in my fingers. So
Well, we are about to break into our halfway point, first halfway point of this show. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick sponsor shout out, real quick. Oh, let me get nice and close so I look all perfect. Bam! All right. So first up, we have the gold sponsor, which is dry flower, which you can see behind me, this is a classic harvesting kit. Really awesome. And dry flower, the original hang harvesting system. If you've ever ruined your flower post chop or lost terpenes to a bad dry, it's time to upgrade. Dry flower makes plant hanging effortlessly with tools like the drying arm rack systems, Cannabis Guardian Net, giving consistent airflow, zero flat spots, and the maximum preservation of your strain's full aroma and structure. Built by growers for growers, Dry Flower helps cure like a king. Our next sponsor, which is our main sponsor for the Deepwater Culture series, which is Current Culture H2O, the gold standard in deepwater culture hydroponics. These systems are designed to deliver explosive root nutrient uptake through consistent water circulation and oxygenation. Whether you're in a 4-site or a 100-light commercial facility, the undercurrent system, plug and play design makes growing cleaner, faster, and more productivity. Precision growing starts at the roots, and that's where Current Culture shines. Next, we have a wonderful sponsor, Legendary Leafies. Legendary Leafies is on a mission to support veterans, break the stigma around cannabis through their unique themed trading cards. They highlight the plant's therapeutic potential, especially for those battling PTSD and anxiety. Legendary Leafies blends education with empowerment, helping veterans and others feel proud, not ashamed of their healing journey. And the very last but not least, and right here with us today, we got CannaScoops, the simple but genius tool every grower needs right here on their tray. No more sticky fingers, smash nugs, or cross contamination. Just scoop, weigh, and pack like a pro. It's one of those tools you don't realize you need it until you've used it. Then you'll never go back. All right. Bam. Hold on for 1 second. Yes, Logan. Oh, that's cool. High five, dude. You're awesome, bro. Love you. All right. We are back after those messages.
Awesome.
Right now, I'm going to roll something and do a dab. Do you have anything you're smoking on tonight?
I do. I'm not a good roller, so I rolled one before.
So,
and I also have I'm a bong smoker, so I like dripping my bong.
So, I just got done harvesting.
Yes, I saw that. You had a freaking wicked harvest there.
Yeah, these are just a
I
couple
saw them all
bags.
hanging on your racks back there. What was that machine? Was that take off the nugs, or does it take the stems?
Okay, so the machine you saw me use is for my good friends Twisted Technologies, and that is the T6 trimmer, which is a tabletop trimmer that uses 3 blades to go ahead and trim the bud. So what I do is I use the dry harvest rack system, and I take the plant, and then I would take it, and then I would hold the stem, and I would pull, and then I would end up with all the weed in my hand from there.
Yeah.
From there, I take the bud, and I put them in my machine, and it perfectly goes ahead and let me see if I can zoom in.
Oh yeah, it trims all the.
So it perfectly put it on my forehead, so it's clean. Makes the nug perfectly shaved. So
Gotcha.
yeah, see that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. It's the perfect nug.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect, and it's really good with small buds. Like you can see in my bag, I have some small stuff, and it works just as well. So
Yeah, I actually prefer the smalls.
yeah, I'm testing out which does the best. Putting them in my Seavolt or my Canatrol or my Cure Puck, because my thing is if I'm not always around the Canatrol, how long will it be good for? So I've been putting and trying out different drying methods here. But I will have to say my last drying method did really well. I mean, I literally just put it in the bathroom with a fan. Didn't even check. Oh, fuck me. Oh, I guess I'm going to need a CannaScoop. Scoop all my weed back in the
Yeah,
can. If only there was such a device, you know?
yeah. If only somebody could think of something that would
No,
keep the weed
I
off
think
your
I'm gonna reach out to
fingers.
this guy named Charlie. He seems to be an inventor. I think he might be able to take care of it for us.
I think he lucked out and put two and two together and figured something out.
Nah. So talk about the CannaScoop and really the vision for it. And do you have that wonderful box with you of all prototypes? I would love for you to
Oh
show the
man, I
audience
sure
that.
do.
So let's go through it. Let's
Well,
learn all we can about CannaScoops.
so CannaScoop I came up with after I started smoking. Like I said, I didn't really like the feeling of weed on my fingers. Uh, you could always see it in the cracks, and anyways, and it made me think, okay, well, if that's getting on my fingers, what's going on my weed? So I started doing, like I said, a little bit of research on it, and found out that how some of the oils of your fingers, even the heat from your fingers, will start to degrade the terpenes. So thinking about that, I was wondering how I could use something. So I like everyone, grabbed a business card or used the rolling paper edges and tried to use it. Just cut everything up, tore it, used everything. Tried to use a scoop, and nothing would work out. So when I was on my stress leave, I was cleaning up my smoke area one day and just happened to look down and saw a piece of plastic on the ground. Picked it up and I noticed that it looked like the shovel end of a grain shovel. So I'm a farm kid here in Manitoba. Was stuck in the bin from the time I was 7 years old, sweeping and cleaning bins. So I've used a grain shovel all my life, and how easy it was to get into the edges of all the grain bins, which were circular, kind of like a grinder. So I looked at it and I saw the grinder. I said, "Holy crap! I could really get in and start cleaning that grinder because my grinder was really disgusting." And I lost the pick that came with it because everybody loses it. I think I used it in my guitar, which it's used for. So started cleaning and using it. Figured that was pretty interesting. Grabbed a lighter and bent and heated up a bit and came up with this guy. This is the actual piece of plastic that I found, and I started using. Uh, Fast forward a few weeks and started using different materials, trying to figure out something a little bit better than this little thing. I got giant hands; it was kind of small, so I started playing with. Actually, I grabbed my this is my hunter safety card, expired one. I started playing with that, trying to bend around with it. Looked at this and said, "Hey, you know what? If I shape it a little bit, I could probably put it in the inside a bowl, and I really don't have to touch it. So I could scoop and just dump it in." Played with that one for a while, and it started to loosen up and bend on me and break. So I grabbed a couple other things to try and think if I could use. I actually grabbed a Amazon gift card, kind of a papery one. Folded that up, and that worked for a little bit, but was too flimsy. Went from there, bought a 3D printer and printed one out. It took forever, and thought that was not really uh, appropriate to use. So went through a couple other materials and found that PVC from lid of a container worked. So researched that to figure out the supplier and whatnot, and found some and started working on the prototypes. fast forward a bit, I got the design done and started using it a lot more for myself. Passed it off to my daughter to use, and she's looked at it and said, "No one's going to want to use this thing." I said, "Okay, well, just try it out." So she tried it for a week or so. Went on a she was house sitting at a friend of ours. Came home at about 11 o'clock at night and said, "I need another scoop." I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" She goes, "Well, I lost mine and I can't not use it. Like it feels like I'm a Neanderthal pinching with my fingers." I said, "Oh." So a light bulb went in my head and said, "I might have something here." Did some market research with some of the dispensaries. Chatted with them. Wondered what their thoughts were on it, and went from there. That was about 3 years ago. Now we're in 5 stores in Manitoba. We're just starting to get our product out to distributors. So we're next week sending a bunch of product to distributors for us to distribute to a bunch of dispensaries and sponsorships. We're getting asked these lots of sponsorships, great partnerships. Actually, um, we're we're in chats with another one of the sponsors to see if we can help them out with the spreading of their word. So yeah, a lot of things are coming up too. So we're excited and growing every day.
Oh, we absolutely are growing every day, and that's amazing. Congratulations on the dispo opportunity. You know, the biggest thing with products, we did 3D printing when we first started. Did about $30,000 in sales. Was in about 13 countries. For our clips, we used to have a high jar, whole bunch of different products, but you are right. With 3D printing, it takes forever. And on a business scale, it is not the best material. And that's why I'm very glad that
No,
you came up with a different material that can actually produce, because trying to make 1,000 units of something in 3D is going to take a very long time. And these,
absolutely,
with your machine and everything that you have, you can pump out a lot and really satisfy those customers, and that's amazing. And it's good for you to think
absolutely.
about
So
different things: local, dispensary, dispo. Now, do you have anything international yet? Because Australia just opened in Victoria for smoking and growing.
we haven't yet. We haven't reached overseas yet. We've actually I shouldn't say that. We've my business partner does know a couple of fellow or a guy in South Africa, which is legalized in medical, and they're talking about recreational.
Yeah,
So he's got a lot of
fantastic.
contracts in other places around there too. So we've been in chats with them. He absolutely thinks it's a great product as well. I think that it would sell well there. So we're sent him a bunch of product to demo, and we're gonna see what the market research looks like there.
Yeah, no, that'd be really exciting, especially because there's nothing necessarily like this. So getting this in, you know, once the NFL opens up truly about cannabis, maybe you could do some sport team logos for the players.
Well,
Just could
that's
go all
that's the hope, right?
crazy, right?
Yeah, we'd love to get some licensing stuff. Actually, we were in chat. We're in talks with a couple of '90s bands that we might be getting some licensing with. So that's kind of exciting as well.
There you go. Yeah, really give the option so you can have something creative. You can do your own image, and that's one thing I do
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
about the ones that we're going to be doing is I have a couple of different designs that we're going to come out with that I'm really excited about. I'm going to give 150 to my friend GI with his logo on it so we can promote his
Beautiful.
seeds. Oh yeah, I mean it's a great marketing tool, and it's like who wouldn't want to have this, on them? And your daughter's right. It's like I need another one, and even like filling my joint and then just putting all the weed back. You can do that all you want. But I just took two CannaScoops and then bam, right back there. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I was watching how Master Yoda was using it, and how you were saying, "Oh, well, you you scooped it the other way." And honestly, the CannaScoop's just a tool, man. It's a multi tool. You figure out a way to use it. You told me that you bent yours here, right? You kind of bent it in there so you could put your king palms in there a little easier.
yep, yep.
Perfect. That's what I built this for, is that you can take it home and you can modify it so that you can use it the way you want to use it. There's no right or wrong way to use a CannaScoop. Actually, when I use mine, and what I was going to actually mention to Master Yoda is I just hold it here like this, and I scoop with the other end. I don't even use the shovel end. I just nicely scoop up, and then you can put it in that device of his and just tap it in. So
Yeah, the Venti by Stork and Bickle. That is a great product, and I think if you don't have one, you need to check one out because you could probably work something out with them, and I'm sure they would love to sell it with their unit, because even though
yeah,
Vita partners with other people on stuff. I also, while we're here, I'll bring up that video real quick. Let's see if people are able to hear this, and we can show them that video.
it'd be awesome. So yeah, when I originally designed it, to have three kind of ways to use it, and that's scooping with that shovel end, so you can scoop it up and just drop it in, or you can scoop it up and kind of tilt back so it all funnels back through, like Master Yoda did,
Yep.
or just even pick it up and pinch it so that your cannabis stays inside, and then you could drop it over top the venti and just drop it in.
All right. Let's see here. Baby,
Actually,
go
I'll
lay down.
pack a bowl right now.
Go lay. All right. Let's see. Why can't I? All right. Let's see here. I'll bring this in, and let me see if we can hear it together. Can you hear that? All right, that is not playing sound. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. Okay. There we go. Audio setting. You know what I need to do? I need to have some waiting music. So when people are waiting for my horrible technology, we can have some like grocery store. Oh, wait.
The old elevator music going.
Yeah, and then it'll minimize me screaming at my computer in the background. You should have fucking known. The fuck's wrong with you? You piece of shit.
Sounds like me at work every day.
Mm-hmm. I'm dead serious. It's like, come on, man. I need some help here. All right. Well, we're just gonna show them the video. This upsets me. Oh wait, hold on. That's the wrong video. Wait a second. There we go. So I'll describe what you're seeing here. So right now, I'm watching him do this for the first time, and I thought that he was doing it backwards, but he's not. He actually turned it around, and as you can see in here, it fits perfectly. It actually will go inside. And for the venti or your dry herb vaporizer, this is a great option because we all know what it's like to pinch, and sometimes it's smaller than areas than others. Sometimes they're really tiny holes. The venti is about like that wide, so it does a really good job. But see, pack, 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 and he's even scooping it on the side to get the excess material in it. And he actually loved it so much I sent him home with 2 CannaScoops. But yeah, he was a huge fan of it. And we can't forget we're all rocking our legendary Leafies rolling trays. Yep. Bam, just like that. You can see how it was all loaded. So very, very cool. And you can see the functionality of it. If you go to Instagram, you can actually hear the audio. Sorry, for some reason, I cannot hear the audio. But it's pretty awesome. And we did a great conversation about it, too. You've probably seen this. Have you seen this, Charlie?
The stick?
It's not a
Just
stick.
no, I haven't. What is?
But
Is that a stem?
This is a stem out of a 3-gallon. Oh yes, oh yes.
That's a fucking walking stick, man.
Oh yeah. No, it's.
You know what? That is insane. But
Yeah. So this is
the
out of a
cannabis stem.
3-gallon using an auto pot, and this right here is a tropical trooper by my friend. I lost my joint. Damn, I must have kicked my joint somewhere because all I have is the tip now. Where did the joint go? Oh man, well, hopefully it's not on fire, or my house soon will be, which pretty God. Nope,
You're a responder. You got this.
Yeah, I'll put it out. Bob the Builder can do it. I can do it.
Rely on the internal training.
Yes. Stop, drop, and roll. Just so you know,
It doesn't.
You can stop, drop, and roll, but it still takes a fucking minute. All right. But anyways, this is a tropical trooper, and this is the mother clone that I'm growing out right now in the Grow series. But I put my mic on it to talk, and then when I do my in-person class, like when I go to New York in June, I'm going to use this to present the PowerPoint, and I'm going to get my friend who has a laser engraver to laser engrave all types of shit in here. And this thing, I'll come around, you know, and when I do all my teaching, this is my teaching stick. And it's a real cannabis stem from a plant that I grew.
You can knight people with it.
Actually, that's right.
Huh? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You are now knighted.
That's right. But yeah, no, I just like
it's so the cannabis round table.
Yeah, and if you know, like if I were going to receive a wand from Harry Potter, this is what it would probably look like.
Bro, absolutely.
I'm telling you.
100%.
Like this thing is baller. It's gonna have your life.
100%.
You can still smell.
It smells fantastic.
That it's a cannabis plant.
Yeah, the stalk of a cannabis plant is just such an interesting thing. It's so weird. It's so hard, but it feels like it shouldn't be.
I am really trying to figure out
where
that would have gone. We're gonna have to watch a replay. It's this VMix Studio does replays. I wish I had figured out how to do that. I'd be like, replay, where did my joint go? It was actually a good joint too. I hand rolled it, which I'm not the best hand roller. I use a roll machine.
Yeah, me neither. I roll
my hands terrible. Are shaking and I get nervous, but I do a good job.
I use a roller. Perfect.
Rollers are the best, dude, and they're the best because it makes it look like a cigarette. So when you're walking around with it, it's like all straight. Not because like sometimes the joints, they get like banana shaped, and you're like, oh, dude, that's definitely smoking a joint.
The smell doesn't give it away at all.
I guess that is true. But you know, you have some cigarettes that do kind of smell like weed when you like walk
You're,
by
you know
certain
what?
times.
Honestly, the Canadian cigarettes don't smell like that. Only American ones
Interesting.
do. It's like Camel and Winston. They smell like weed. My old man used to smoke them all the time.
This is like seriously a mystery. Like, did I finish it and put it out somewhere?
Where's my you need these guys on the case.
Oh shit. That's awesome. Scooby Dooby Doo.
Smoking a bong.
Smoking a bong. Crikey. No, it's not them. What do they say? What does Scooby say when he gets like freaked
Zoinks.
out? Do you remember what he says? He
I
goes,
think it's
"Row."
Zoinks. No, that's.
I think
Oh
he
man, I
goes,
can't remember now.
"Row."
Yeah,
I want to
Scuba.
I want to teach Honey to do a little Scooby
Yeah,
Doo
how is Honey?
jump in my arms. Right? I'm like, Honey, Scooby Doo, and then she hops in my arms. That would be fun. All right, I guess.
My dog greased me like Dino from the Flintstones.
Oh man, do you remember
He
the John?
tackles me and brings me to the ground and licks my face off.
Do you remember the John Goodman um, Flintstones with John Goodman?
Yep.
That one was a funny, funny movie.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Was she in that?
Yeah, she was. She was Betty.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, where he's like, you're hired, but you have to do one thing. You have to fire your best friend. He's like, Barney, you're
Yeah,
fired.
that was Rick Moranis.
Rick, you know,
If I remember it.
do you know the story about Rick Moranis? One, my friend
No.
Yoda looks like him. Two, um, so back in his time with the Honey I Shrunk the Kids and all that, he was actually a very, very popular actor, very, very successful.
Yeah.
But he had kids, and he wanted to be a legit father, and he stepped away from the movie in Hollywood to go be a dad.
I can see it.
Well, I think that shows a lot about character, and as a father myself, as you're a father too, who I'm sure is very active in your child's life and probably already always has been. You know,
I raised both my daughters.
oh, perfect, yeah, exactly. You know, there's a lot of people out there that being a parent is more of a title than an actual commitment. And I'm not talking shit about anybody indirectly, but
Yeah.
I am saying that you know to I'm kind of in that position too, where right now I'm working really hard with Madman Plants, trying to get everything moving and on the way and everything. And there are sacrifices, just like with you with CannaScoop. There are things that you're going to have to do that really are going to push the limits so you can go truly have your dream. And I think a lot of that also plays down to the ability to love what you do, but then also recognize, the bigger values. And I think that's what happens when you get older is you realize that, family is a lot more important. Relationships are a lot more important. Our time here is a lot more important. Yeah, we're all, in it to win it. And we're, when it comes to the marketplace, we're all show up to play ball. But, the bigger thing I think is the impact, and that's the one thing that I love about, when I was a volunteer is, maybe I didn't go into a burning house, but I was still there, and I mean, and I still got to see a lot of stuff, and I still got to be a part of a lot of stuff. And, whether those people, you never meet them again or not, even just the people that you meet in Starbucks, our ability to impact is so important, and it starts with your children, and it starts with
Yep.
the love that you have in your heart. And I just really just think that's cool that he did that. I've not always done that. I've made a lot of sacrifices, and some of those have, gone against, maybe what was best for the family at the time because I was trying to invest in something or do something, and there's sometimes you get to a point, especially as a parent, where you're like, I don't even know what's important anymore. I just want to be a good parent, and
Yeah.
I know it's a humbling feeling. So I really respect that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You lose yourself as a parent for sure. Like I said, my ex wife was an alcoholic, so I basically raised my both daughters from the time they're 2 and 4 by myself. And yeah, it was all about them all the time. Whenever they were with me, it was constantly I was at their attention. They had my full attention. Like I wouldn't go out. I never got babysitters for them. I stayed single for 10 years, just because I had to raise them.
That's hard to do,
So
and especially by yourself. I mean, that's very difficult. I mean, I only have one kid, so and it's a boy, so I kind of got lucky. In today's
yeah,
world, I'd be walking around with a shotgun if I had a daughter. Like, I'm sorry, everybody's getting pointed a shotgun at, and so I know you're not a pedophile or some loser. Like it's different.
oh yeah,
Guys are kind of one of those things where they can kind of take care of themselves, and guys are known to kind of rough it sometimes. Like for instance, when I was younger, we both my sister got cars. I got my mom's minivan, and they brought her a brand new Mustang, and it pissed me the fuck
oh,
off.
what do you know?
Oh yeah, dude. Well, I had this little problem with crashing cars. I've been in a lot of accidents when I
All
was
right, fair.
younger. Anyways,
That's fair.
but it's one of those things I was like, Dad, why are you giving me the old car and she gets a brand new car? And he's like, well, you're a guy, it's different because she's a girl. And I'm like, oh, okay. I see how it is. you know?
Yeah, yeah, because she can't change the wheels, the tires,
Yeah,
and oil.
exactly. God forbid that she had to
She
wait on
needs.
the side of the road for an hour.
Yeah, right. Oh,
So
I
yeah,
hear
it
you.
was just kind of funny. It was like, oh, okay,
I
I
was
get it now.
I was raised with two sisters and my mom, so I naturally knew how to deal with girls. So it was hard. It wasn't too hard for me with my daughters, anyways.
Oh yeah, and I will say too that it's also the kids too. If you have a good relationship with your children, and like Logan, like he's, for instance, I've taken over all of his homeschooling. So each morning I do all of his homeschooling because Lacey is heavy in her college right now. She actually went back to school not because she needs to, because she
Nice.
wants to, and she wants to be a criminal profiler that is like works with like serial killers or murderers and is like their psychologist
Oh
and
man,
stuff in prison. So she's going for her
I
PhD.
would have I would have a lot of conversations with her. That's basically all my YouTube reels are about uh, not serial killers, but like the investigators and how they investigate into it and all that stuff. So yeah, that's interesting.
Well, we can
Good for
talk
her.
about
Good
that
for
in a
her.
second, but yeah, she's going back now. She only has her GED, so she's actually just doing this to prove to herself that she can do this because it's something that she's wanted to do for a very long time. But that's going to be the cool part is um, once she does this, she will be our psychologist for the show. So each time we have a mental health segment, I'll actually have a real psychologist here present.
Nice.
And in Virginia, they're making a new law in May that says that if I get the certain certificates for therapy in Virginia under her guidance or whatever apprenticeship or whatever, I can actually do my own practice. So as the more I dive into mental health, the more I can really start to understand how to actually work with people through her, and really turn Vindic EU, which is on the wall, into an
Yeah.
actual platform that really can serve people, not just talk to them through a podcast. So we can start to develop resources and opportunities and have conversations on and off that can really benefit. And, being trained in the mental health space as a certified, you know, um, whatever they call it here in Virginia when you don't do what she's doing, because no offense, but I'm not the college type. Like, I did college for a little bit, but I was also able to make it without it. There's some people where, if I was just going for what I wanted, like what I did with Wildtech, the motorcycle school, where I just worked
Yeah.
on motorcycles and then I got a degree in Harley Davidson engineering and mechanics, it's one thing. But she's
Yeah.
doing math, like science, social studies, all this boring shit. And I'm like, the idea I thought would be, if somebody's going to be a doctor, let's get them trained as fast as possible so they could be in the field and not waste their time with 4 years of English when they already speak English.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a
Yeah.
doctor's handwriting? It's shit to
Oh
begin
man.
with. So, it's not making them any better when it comes to their prescription where you're like, what the fuck does this say? You know?
Oh man. Brutal.
And
100%. My old doctor's was ridiculous. It was terrible. He put my name down and I couldn't even see how he wrote my name. It
yes,
made zero sense to me.
exactly. So that's my point. It's like maybe a simple writing class and, a couple other things, but there's some things we need to focus on. Like, why does the nurse practitioner always get confused as a doctor? Because you're like, oh, thank you, doctor. Oh, I'm not the doctor. Well, then what the fuck does the doctor do?
Right?
It's like, say, so you get, wait, who gets paid more then? Because you did more work. You know, he's just gonna come see me in 6 months. So I don't know. Just funny things I think about when it comes to the healthcare system. It's a little backwards, but I do think that first responders are the backbone of this country, because one thing that I do kind of get infuriated with is when people are like, I hate the United States. And as an immigrant, because I'm from Romania, I was adopted when I was 2 years old and brought here. Um,
Oh, wow.
this is the land of the opportunity. You have a very, hold on for a second.
What? Feeding?
My friend came, he brought fantastic dabs. Look at that. Look how clean that is.
Oh, nice.
But what I was saying is, some people are like, oh, I hate the United States. If you go to any other country in the world, the chances of you doing what you do here, as far as like, being an influencer, or, being free to choose your job or not have to serve in a mandatory military service, or, choose how what you have to do and certain things like that. You know, there's a great ability, like Eminem says, to be a kid from the gutter making your butter. And it's just one of those things that I just feel like a lot of people sometimes take for granted, because I think it's because in certain aspects you don't know what you don't know. And until you know you're capable of something, the ability and the thought of being capable can be very out of reach. And that's why I'm always encouraging people to take themselves on, because it might just work, or it could blow up in your face, but either way, you're going to get an answer, and as a person that's kind of struggled from time to time, even with my own, channel or influencing or whatever you want to call it, or even just in my own business or in my relationships in the past, this continued effort and drive that it does get better is very important. And I think that plays a lot into what we're talking about, because, how do you formulate a new opinion? How do you see something differently? How do you let go of like past trauma where you can develop a product or take yourself on or have a great relationship with your family, you know, and those are things that I've battled with a lot as a younger person. What about you?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's always on my mind. All those things, failure. I've my wife pushes me all the time for the CannaScoop stuff. I've threatened to quit. I don't know how many times, but I know I won't. Funny story is, actually, when I knew the CannaScoop was something for me, it was actually when I came home one day from work and I actually had the worst day of my life. And I came home, I broke down and I cried. I came downstairs, I started smoke. My bong rip, and I started questioning what's going on, and I yelled at the universe saying, I need something. I need a change. I need I need to be able to help other people, and I need to be able to do that. And as soon as I looked at my CannaScoop, I felt an explosion in my stomach, and from that moment on, I knew that this was something that was going to work out and something that I was going to be able to help other people with. But still, you know, those skeletons come back, and we went to my first um, conference show in Niagara Falls, and I was shitting bricks the night before, like sweating, pacing up and down the, the alleyway of the hotel, saying, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go. People are going to judge this. They're not going to like it." Right? You say you get there, and absolutely everyone's the way everyone was. As soon as they got it in their hands, they're like, yeah, I never knew that I needed this thing. It works way better than the other things that are around. Um, so yeah, pushing yourself is something that you absolutely need to do in order to grow, and I know the fear of it too. So it's a double edged sword for sure.
Now, with that being said, talk a little bit more about that because one thing that I know that I have, and it's very true, it's proven, is your spouse and the ability of the belief and the courage and the love behind that. Because, like you, Madman Plant and my other companies, you know, you cry, you hate the world, you contemplate getting a 9 to 5, you do a lot of things, but they say that your wife or your partner would be the most important person that you pick because it truly dictates your altitude. And, you know, to have somebody in your corner back you up. Like, there are times where I'll be like, I'll talk negatively about myself and I'll be like, I'm worthless and, you know, I bring nothing to the table and, you know, I just feel very small and I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome where I don't like think I'm good enough and stuff like that. And Lacey will be like, I'm not going to let you talk to yourself like this or I'm not going to let you quit just like your wife did. And I think that is just so important. What does she think about everything? Like when it comes to what you're doing, talk a little about her belief in you.
100% from day one. As soon as I came up with the idea, I showed it to her, and she was on board. She's like, "Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting. It's helping you." Um, she agreed along 100% along the way. When I had my episodes where I was about to quit, she absolutely was the one sitting there going, reminding me, "Look at where you at. Look at where you came from." You know, it's not everybody that has uh, come up with something and been able to put the steps through to patent it, to come up with a business idea, to come up with a business plan, to fight for your business plan. You know what? Honestly, it took me 1 year, over a year, probably a year and a half, just to get my business in order. I struggled for 6 to 8 months trying to find a bank that would even carry my money because I was reluctant to say that we weren't cannabis related. As long as everyone said, if you just change your sale and say it's coffee scoop or say it's an herb scoop, you'll be fine. And I refuse because I don't want to be that. I don't want to cave to that. I don't want to falter to that stigma. Cannabis isn't something to be hidden anymore. Um, I'm rambling. I got off topic there, but yeah, no, she's been great. backed me up 100% on everything. She's the one that's come up with some money to. She puts her firefighting check towards going to some of these conferences, some of these trade shows. She's been an absolute dream. She's amazing. I've lucked out with her, and finally to find somebody that understands me, not just with the business, but mentally. When I get down on myself, when I talk down, exactly like you said, she's the one's like, it's just that phase you're in. You're gonna snap out of it. You don't think that way. Everything's gonna be fine. We always work through everything. So the support is unbelievable.
Yeah, I definitely echo that when it comes to Lacey. And that's what it takes. You got to be all in mind, body, spirit, financially, mentally, physically. And when you have somebody that believes in you, your ability to believe in yourself, it quantifies, and I think that's the most biggest part because right now in the beginning stages it is rough. You're your own cheerleader, you wear multiple hats, you're sometimes very low funded, there's a lot of things that go into this, and it's not for everybody. This
Yeah,
is a place that my friend Gi just said, yep, banks are crazy. My volume is low. All right. How about this? Does that sound better? Hold on. Turn that up. Turn that up. Let's see if he responds real quick. So, no, I definitely agree with you. Now, with this, are you gonna start selling a pack? Like when you gave me the items or the CannaScoops, they came in a 3-pack, right? Are you gonna
yep,
sell them in like fives, twos, kind of like Bic? How they have like you get like a whole bunch of lighters or whatever when you
oh
come
yeah,
up with new
absolutely, 100.
designs, or how does that work? Like the
I would
customizations.
love to, yeah, yeah, 100%. Will. So we do everything in house. We used to sh- pay out to get their product from somebody else, but I found that it was a little too expensive. So we did find a way that we can bring all our printing in house. So yeah, we can do any kind of a design at all. So my dream for this is to start making some of these collectible, make it a collectible as like Pez dispensers are, where you can be able to go to a concert where the entertainer has their own specific can of scoop for that album, and you can only get it that year, or that an event like a cannabis event. We did one 420 event for a company in the States this past year, and that's the only one you can get. You can't. We're not going to bring that design back. It's the only one that's going to be there. So I'd love to get to where there's people displaying them on a wall behind them, and not just me, because that's what I'm going to do.
You know what would be
But yeah, the
cool?
customization is absolutely amazing, and like I said, I'd love to be able to help people with it. And like I was mentioning, I reached out to Leafy there because I'd love to see some of his designs on a CannaScoops. He's fantastic.
You should also reach out to T Dog, the artist. I can send you an email introduction. He's does all hand drawings. He's been a legend in the
Oh yeah,
game for a while. I met him, and he would be another great guy, possibly to get some of his art on those as well. And he's kind of sought after in the community, so that would be also a great um,
yeah.
conversation for you to have, anyways. And then also too, uh, would you ever consider doing like American Express Black, where it's metal, like kind of like for people that kind of like a little weight when it's in their hand?
Actually, that's always been on my mind, and 100%. So this is CannaScoop 1.0. Like this
Yeah,
is
let's
just
go through them real
the
quick. Yeah, take your time, go through them.
sure. So CannaScoop 1.0. This is CannaScoop. Actually, this is CannaScoop 1.0. The one that I originally found and had to bend up and melt. CanScoop 2 was actually this guy, and it was more of a, I don't know if you can see it, but a rounded end to it, not quite like a house shape. Works well. I know you mentioned using that more so for like the palms, to get the palm in there and kind of fit a little bit better. I found that was great, but in production, it just wasn't easy to get a press to be able to do that kind of a shape. So that was that one. Then I came up with the design that it is now, which is kind of the house shape. You're still easily able to pinch at it so that you can scoop up your cannabis with that one end, pinch it so that it's holding there, and then when you're ready to let go, you can let it go into your bowl or pipe or your venti. So from there, start doing that, and that's the one I was like, okay, this is one that's going to be the easiest to be able to customize, the easiest to be able to market white label and help people grow their marketing. I've always had the idea to do the metal one, so I did have some of these. Some are in here. Oh yeah, there's one there. So there is like a little tin one that I have, but the actual material is not the right material. So I haven't found the right material yet to be able to do it. But yeah, absolutely is going to be another set where it's going to be like a chrome, stainless steel, a bronze, maybe a gold plated, something that's a little more executive. Like I like the idea of having replacing that, like you said, that whiskey. After a deal in the office, a high-end deal where they're sipping around whiskeys, why not have a smoke, right? So something that's a little more luxurious that you can use, kind of a thing. So there's a lot of those, and then actually another one that I've got on the plate is one that will do cones. So it's kind of got a cone scoop on it, same style. It's just got a nose that you can use to fit into the cone, and then you can scoop and fill. So yeah, there are some more coming down the pipe, and actually I do have ideas for other products, not just a scoop, but other products that do and will help other people with issues that I find that are issues too. So yeah.
So, GI just asked, "Are you going to make scoops that fit cones?" And you just answered that. And he said, "I didn't know about the pinch."
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the pinch is great, and you can also fill with cones just with this guy, so they do fit kind of in there. You can hold it. What I usually do is I'll scoop it up, hold it in, and then use the poker to poke it through and fill the cone. So there are a few ways that you can do it, and also this good old just tap it in works as well.
He's suggesting that you make a canna funnel.
Maybe that's what we can call this guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something like that. Yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing everything come together. That's one of the biggest things that I love with anything, kind of being the entrepreneur slash MacGyver, is the product, the prototype, the first draft, and then right here on somebody else's table, the finished product, ready to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He says that's nice. I'm trying to figure out on vMix how to bring in the comments. vMix, you have to build out completely yourself. It's not like a plug and play. So everything that I do is independent. So like when I brought your screen in, I see how it's like longer now. I'm not exactly sure why it does that, but it does. So, it's not perfect, but it's functional.
It's working. Absolutely.
It's working, man.
So I got a question about the laws in the States or about cannabis. Or actually the government, do they subsidize anything for veterans as far as prices or for prescriptions anyways of cannabis?
Like in the
so
dispensary?
in Canada here, I know our government basically pays for their cannabis prescriptions, so they can go to any medical
Yeah, we have all
dispensary.
types of programs, and then at the dispensaries, if you're medical or veterans, sometimes they'll have like special independent prices or deals or select
Oh, okay.
items. So yeah,
So it's more privatized.
what's up, Rising Phoenix? I mean Phoenix Rising. Much love, dude. Um, so yeah, there's definitely tons of it. My friend David, who I think you've seen High and Tight 420. He has a great
Yeah.
podcast. Very awesome guy. Shout out to David. Um, he won the Kansas Missouri lottery, which gave him like the ticket to grow. So he's setting up his dispensary. Um, but GI's adding in here, oh, you can't discount cannabis. It's all privatized. So, like I said, I don't know a whole lot when it comes to that side of it. So I'll be completely honest on that. But from what I've
Yeah.
seen, they in Virginia, give an example, you can grow it, you can smoke it, you can't buy it, but I could gift it to you like with nothing in exchange. So like I can just give it to you. I can't be like, if you buy the Sprite, I'll get for $120. Then you get this,
You get this. Yeah.
stuff with it. So but yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like I grow my own weed, I smoke my own weed 24/7, but I cannot go into a Virginia dispensary to buy weed. Makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense when you think about it.
That's that does make sense.
It's okay, so GI also does have his permit app. Wait, okay, hold on. GI, since I can't bring the quotes in, give me a little bit more context. So when I speak it to the screen, because people can't see what you're saying, he's saying you can say Big Pharma. It's $6 million for the permit application, is what he's saying, and that's a lot. And that's why it's like they don't want the small guy;
Wow.
they want the big guy. I think at the end of the day, it's all about money.
Well,
And
always.
this takes a lot of time, money, and resources away. All right, so here's the thing. We're going to check out my rolling skills while we talk. All right, so don't judge me.
Ah,
Don't judge
no
me.
judging.
Oh
No
my God,
judging ever.
look. What do we have here
Here's here's
in my
here's my
smoke
rolling
bag?
skills.
That's beautiful. I don't know where mine is. Yeah, I don't. Um, but I do have another CannaScoop ready to go.
Nice.
Locked
Beauty.
and loaded. All right,
Oh,
let's go.
I'm super excited and stoked to see your designs.
Well, one of them, just the application, that does not mean you get approved. One of them is going to be GI Genetics logo, because I'm helping him promote his seeds. And the Tropical Trooper stick, that's from one of his plants that I grew from
That
seed.
thing's disgusting.
That's why when people are like, oh, I need a really big tent to grow a lot of, big plants. And it's like, no, you do not. You do not need a lot of anything. As long as you know what you're doing, very minimum space, you can pump out a decent amount.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like they don't even realize the value of growing, because if you were to go to the dispensary and buy all the weed that I could possibly pump out here as just a small home grower, just doing this for myself, how much
Yeah.
money do you think it would be at the dispensary to get the same amount? I'm talking about thousands, right? And the power to the people is you can take what you love, just like craft beer and cannabis. You can put your own twist into it, enjoy the fruit of your, labor, and and it's no offense, but sometimes it's better. Like dispensaries are hit or miss, and that's why when I go to dispensaries, I'm like
Oh
really
yeah.
picky.
Yeah, dispensary. Yeah, the weed coming out of there isn't the best anymore.
No, and like when we go to LA on Wednesday, I'll be going to dispensaries, and on the strip, there's like dispensaries that are like, oh wow, this is really nice and boutique and high end, and then there's some it's like, oh, come in here, okay, knock on this door, let me see your ID, all right, go to this back room, and it's like, mm, I like the dispensaries where it's like a jewelry store where it's all very high end and everything's
Yeah,
in the cases and you can see exactly what the fuck you're getting, not get a Mylar package, and then you leave the building and it's not even the shit that they showed you.
yeah, that's dry ass. Well, funny thing is, when I was watching Master Yoda use the CannaScoop there, I was like, man, why? All you have to do is tap, but the green that he was using was so lush and nice. Oh, beauty. I was looking at the stuff that I use, and it's so dry and shitty. So, absolutely, the difference in cannabis between homegrown and dispensary stuff is night and day.
Oh, 100%, absolutely. No, it really is. But that's the power of home growing, and that's why I will never give that up. Let's see here. Phoenix Rising says facts 100. GI says hell yeah, $90 a gram for bubble hash. Like my friend Yoda made this, and this is bubble hash. And if you were to buy this, this is way more than a gram, in there, you're looking at like he said, $90 for something that looks this good and smells that good, right?
Yeah,
And who can afford that? People are losing their jobs left and right and going through a really hard time, and they're relying on this. It should be in a way that you know that a little grandmother can grow her tomatoes and her weed, help her own arthritis, and sell a little with the tomatoes on the side of the street in the middle of the country to make money for her family. Like
100%.
and
Leave the stuff that grows natural alone and start fighting the chemically shit that people cut up.
I was watching a news
That's the
segment
drug.
today how grocery stores have tricks to sell expired
Oh yeah,
food to make it look like new. Phoenix Rising says, sadly, I can't grow in my state, but I'm starting an exotic garden. Fuck yeah, dude. And GI says, home grow is the way to go. And I truly believe that.
like I said, we just passed the law like last week, and we're allowed to now. So let's go. I'm ready. I want to see a big beating stick like that.
Dude, in a 3-gallon pot. This is bigger than a 3/4 inch PVC when you put it next to it. The very bottom is. So
That's
this
insane.
shit would hurt. I just don't want it to break, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
very
Do some damn
strong.
crazy. So
Yep.
do you like drop the seed in that basket and let her go, or do you have to germinate it, get it to
For
get a
for
root
what?
system first for the for your system? Like, how do you start from seed, or do you start from seed?
Okay, so you can. And how this would be is you can start from seed, but there's a couple ways to do it. Most times you would start with like one of those grow cubes, right? It's like the wool
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
fiberglass or whatever it is. You
yeah.
put the seed in there, and then once the seed pops and has a stem that's long enough, then you would do that. But the idea is whatever you put in there, whether it's a clone or whether it's a seed, you want the root zone to be about 6 to 8 inches and somewhat matured. So most of it would probably be happening outside the system. So in a cloner or some type of setup for clones, and then you'd be transferring them into the system versus directly starting them. I can ask the company, but I'm pretty sure that you would be transporting either the seed or the clone to the system once the roots are
Okay.
developed, because the water doesn't go all the way up to the top. The water's at the bottom, and yes, it is kind of sloshing water through where it does, get wet throughout the whole net pot or pot,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's not specifically targeted to do that. So
Well,
you
yeah.
just want to make sure that whatever you put in there has enough structure, because if not, it could damage it or be too juvenile. But I can show it off real quick. So all right, so as you can see, this is a system. Now it's fully modular like mine, so you can scale up and add more. But how it works is everything here. All right. So this is the UC Solocom system, and it's a 6-pot site. And what happens is you put the clone directly in here, and the roots just spread out everywhere. GI's plants, because I gave him a unit, are actually kind of almost like daisy chained together. Right here, this black tube at the bottom, that's your air. So that's going and creating the oxygen bubbles in the water, which stands for the undercurrent because it's coming from underneath. So all this is just pumped air inside. You'll have your drain valve, and this holds about 35 gallons of water. Now it's great because it comes with its full line of nutrients, and it's a very simple process. Most of the nutrients use the same milliliter, so it's very easy when newting. You're literally just doing simple math, like 2 millimeters times 70, so that's 140. So very, very simple. The EC from clone is about 0.8. When you get into the mature plants, about 1.1, 1.2. It's a lot different than traditional ECs where you're using higher numbers. You're usually staying around the 1 area. And that's mostly because they're micronized nutrients and the uptake is direct. You have to remember, like, deep water culture is like intravenous, which means whatever's in that water, that plant is currently engaged in getting right away. That's why if you have a problem, you're going to see it sometimes within 12 to 24 hours, and it can grow. That bacteria really did spread a lot. Let's see here for me. Yeah, and what he's saying is that it's 35 gallons to do, but I have to do half, and because his system is a 1-site, I have the 2-site system. And when you to exchange the rate of water, you actually exchange half of the water. It's kind of like fish. Once they're kind of set in their environment, when you add new water, that can shock them and kill them. So it's helping maintain what's already built up in that water that's keeping those root systems happy. And one of the things that I experienced was, hold on a second. Bam. One of the things that I experienced was the fact that that slime came back really, really fast. And like I'm talking about within 12 hours and very heavy. So that's why with this system, as I was talking about earlier, it is very easy. So I don't want to put it out there and make people think that it's not easy to use. It is. But this system, in a way, just is going to have you think just a little bit extra about your system to make sure that things are dialed in so you can be 100% successful. And that's what you should be doing with any garden, is being dialed in and in tune with what's happening, because then slime is not back. Slime is not back. Everything is good right now. I'm talking about prior up until this weekend when we put the system together on Sunday. So, with that being said, there is a lot of good and a lot to still work out, but we got to take one day at a time and just be smart. So if you are looking to get DWC, this is one of the best systems. I do love it, and it is very fun. But you are going to want to make sure that you take care of your operation.
Sounds like it's a lot of work.
Not really. You're just checking things. The pH is pretty stable. It might go up every other day or every other couple of days. Sometimes it'll stay stable. The EC stays stable. That doesn't change. The temperature, once you get that dialed in the water, that does not change. So it's not complicated. It's just a process. It's literally like learning a new language. So instead of saying thank you, you say konnichiwa. So that's it. It's just remembering, it's just a little bit different. Hey, I'm driving a manual car. I got one extra pedal and I got to shake some shit, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
so
it's very easy.
Do you have like backup buckets ready just in case you have to do that again?
Well, the change out happens every 7 to 10 days. So you
change out anyways.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. You want to change out because the water is just sitting there. This is not a recirculating system where the water is constantly being ran through, going through the chiller. Sometimes people have filters that is running through and then going back into it. This is a non-recirculating system, which is DWC. That's the difference between our DWC and DWC is R stands for recirculating. So it has a recirculator that's repumping all that water. This is a static tank. So yep, check out GI Genetics videos for his experience with the system, which he's actually done a great job, and I'm very, very proud of him. I need to catch up, show him who's boss. No, I'm just kidding. But I do need to catch up, but he has done wonders with it. And it shows you exactly how fast it grows and, what this is. I mean, in 7 to 10 days, you're supposed to flip the flower from clone. That's how fast these things grow. So it's designed to be a quick flip, perpetual cycle. So you keep going. And that's why it's important to have those clones, because once those are ready, pull them out, put the new clones in, 7 to 10 days, back to flower, back to flower, back to flower.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have so many questions for you. I'm going to be binging you all the time.
Please. That's what I'm here to do, is education.
Good.
Yeah, no, please Love do. It. Anybody that has questions or wants to know more about the system, and that's one of the things that I do try to work hard with the sponsors is to really help people understand the value of the products. And that's also through having my friends try them out and use them and see how great it is. I know you can't see GI's comments, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can. And, definitely check his stuff out. I mean, GI is a great example of somebody that's never done DWC before that's had a great experience with it. So,
Good.
And that's why I know you're going to love it as soon as you pick one up.
Well, yeah, well, I've always wanted to try the hydroponic growing, even with just regular vegetables in winter. So long Canadian winters.
We got 15 minutes left, and I want to open it up to you to tell us or talk about whatever you want that you feel like we missed out or we should cover or everything like that. And let's go.
Oh, man. I think we covered pretty much everything. We went through Oh, the uses, the function, how I came up with the idea, the struggles that we have. A couple of things I think we missed out is, yeah, absolutely, first responders. So we see a lot of nasty stuff. I've lost a few friends from the department quitting because some of the things that they've seen and can't handle. I live in a small community. It's the community. I have family here. My mom grew up here. Um, I got great friends here, best friends here, and we're on the same highway driving every day. And who knows if it's one of them you could come up on. And I've lost friends because they were worried about that. A lot of emotions. A couple of my bad scenes. I've came up on a scene when my kids first started driving that was around the same age, and a couple of kids lost their lives there, and it affects you. Cannabis is something that I feel is a lot easier than what they're leaning on now, which is the other narcotics and the alcohol, uh, and it's just not good for the system. Um, yeah, it's great to see that. Hopefully the government can help out with some of these guys and keep them from the suicides. Same with veterans. Veterans there and here. You guys protect us, kept us our freedom, and have seen atrocities, and I can't imagine, and the stress and trauma that you've seen. So I feel for everyone, and hopefully that everybody can get the help that they need. Um, what else did we have covered? That's about everything that I can think of.
So, talk a little bit about that. Like, I've seen as a first responder, as a volunteer, as a red hat, I've seen some things, but I've never seen anything. Then again, I wasn't around long enough, maybe to see stuff like that. Um, but like, what type of situations would make somebody quit a department? Because that's also something that they love. So having to walk away from your passion and profession, whether it's volunteer or not, what type of situations are we talking about? Can you describe some of the worst scenarios you've walked up on? You said there was a couple kids.
Yeah, it was just we live on our municipality has two major highways that go to the states from Winnipeg. So the 75 highway is which we live on, and the 59 highway. So it's a well traveled highway, semis and big trucks, small trucks, little cars. There's a lot of roads that come off that highway. In Canada here, we're not like the states. We don't have overpasses that come into major interstates. Ours is simply sometimes just stop sign, and they get missed. And I've come up on a lot of scenes where it's cars and semis that collide at highway speeds, which is 68 miles an hour. It's not pretty sight sometimes. Fires too. Fires. There's loss of life in fires. There's victims. There's even any animals. I'm an animal lover, and I hate to see anyone's pet get lost in any way. Um, it's just, yeah. There's so many things that we see. There's, you name it, we see it. It's crazy.
Now, with that being seen, talk about like the mental stress. They say that first responders' average lifespan after service is about 5 to 10 years with all the stress and endurance that they have to go through, right? Um, when do other firefighters handle it healthy, or are there some firefighters that that have unhealthy habits like alcoholism to cope with this? Like, how do you guys go? Like it's like talking to um, people in the military. It's like you go to battle and then you have to go home for the night. You know what I mean? Like, How do you go back to that normal world in a world of chaos?
Yeah, it's hard for me to describe because for me, I don't find it's not a hard transition for me. Like when that happened with my kids there, it it shook me a bit, but I knew that my kids were safe, and I knew that um, that I trust their judgments. Accidents happen. It's a fact of life. You can't really stop it. You can only control what you can control. So I get to the point like I don't know if I don't want to say it's a special thing, but because it's not. It's just I find out that I can tune it out. It doesn't affect me like it affects other people. I do have friends that have turned to alcohol. I know friends who've had parents that were on fire departments that turned to alcohol, and I've seen the battles that they've gone through all my life. So it's tough. It's the way they cope with it, and it's all about the mental health. And I just wish that there was more help out there for things like that. I know there's lots of helplines that you can call now, but sometimes it's just not enough. You need that professional help, which is expensive, and the government needs to be able to see that mental health is something that needs to be subsidized nowadays. It's time to stop talking about it. It's time to start doing something about it.
No, I agree, and that's why Vindikiu, which in Romanian stands for I heal, and being able to now, like you, consider myself a hero by by acting in the time of need, and just here doing the podcast too. We are the pioneers of that, and other people that are brave enough to have the conversations, they're pioneers too. And what pisses me off about social media sometimes is I feel like people use mental health as like a trendy word, but the true definition, in my opinion, is being able to change the way you feel inside, and that's by truly working on yourself. And I'm a prime example. I don't like going to the gym, but all of a sudden I like going to the gym, and I go with Lacey, and she's my little personal trainer because she's been going way longer than I have, and all of a sudden I like being there. And the reason I like being there is because I'm treating me good. I'm putting me first. I'm putting myself in a better place. Because like Jim Rohn has a quote, and I believe that this is very true. He said, "This whole idea of I'll help you if you help me." He said, "I changed that philosophy." He said, "I'll help me if you help yourself, and together we can help each other." Because what would it be if I became the best version of myself and you became the best version of yourself, and together we did something magical? But the idea that, in life and everything, that it's either one sided, or the reflection that, you have to do something in order to get something, I don't think is fair. I think it's the ability to come together, and that's what you and your wife share. Me and my wife share that. A lot of people that are watching this, they share that, and that's the value, is seeing the deeper meaning and allowing that to be your light out of the darkness. It's not going to get better because you wish it gets better. It gets better because you get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, my wife is my rock. She's amazing, and she's actually a volunteer firefighter with me.
So talk a little bit more though about tell me about that worst incident if you don't mind.
Thank you. Pardon me.
Do you
Sorry,
mind
I gotta
share?
put my charger
Oh,
in.
no worries.
There we go. All right, now we're charging. So the one incident, yeah, yeah, we just rolled up on the scene, and it was a bad accident with a couple of kids, and on the way to a event, and I can't really share lots of details, but from what I can share is it was around the same age as my girls, and that one hit me a little bit unseen. Um, After we got off, I had to talk to a couple of people. I do have some good friends that are on the department with me that were able to help me just listen and hear what I had to say, and agree with me, and that's what it is, right? We're a brotherhood, and that's why I say it doesn't matter what color hat you have. We all know what the potential is, and we all have each other's backs, and that's what I love about this whole brotherhood, sisterhood of the fire department and responders, first responders, is that we are all here for each other. We can talk to each other if we want, and it's time to let everyone know that it's okay to talk about
Yeah.
these things. It's okay to be able to get it off your chest instead of wallowing in a glass of booze, or even having a need to have a bong rip to deal with it. It's anything that changes your mood inside. Externally is that you're relying on isn't the best for you. So if you can do it inside, is obviously the best. So the only way to do that is to talk or get those emotions out. And I think that nowadays it's still that stigma that in the department is it's too emasculating to talk about it.
I disagree. I think that
Around here, anyways, from my experience, from my friends, it's they I've tried to talk to them, but they just don't want to talk.
well, that could also be the type of people they are. Some people just don't want to talk about things. Like some people like you know, who sometimes are able to separate yourself from the job. Maybe that's their defense mechanism that helps them cope with it. Is they don't want to deal with it. Like my dad, um, he was never an entrepreneur, but very smart, very talented. He worked for NOAA, and he tells me all the time he could never be an entrepreneur. He wants to get off work, and when he's done, he doesn't want to think about it. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where maybe that's just who they are. But I have found the more that I've opened up and really handled my own mental health and talked to my therapist and have been honest with myself and have tried to eliminate my excuses and change the way I think, that has paid dividends, especially with when I go through hard times. You know, it gets a little bit better. Um, my friend just jumped in GI and said, no, he is correct. People are looked at as weak when they seek help. Was the same way in the military. Well, and that's why I hope to change that stigma, because what what is weak is the mindset that we're all each other's quote unquote friends and buddies or whatever, but yet when it comes to hard times, nobody wants to talk about it. But we would all very miss our friends very much if something tragic happened to them, but we don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just like in the 21st century where it's like, what if we did talk about it? You know, like what if we did, put ourselves out there? And one thing, even with my grow series, that's why I made that entire video talking about how I messed up. Do I really want to come out here and be like, oh yeah, so listen, you guys are all following me for growing tips, and I fucked up because I didn't even have my alignment right. But at the same time, great. I actually see it as a power, because I'm more authentic that way. I'm telling the truth. I did mess up, and a part of the education and the wellness is taking responsibility and understanding that it's not always going to be perfect and things are going to go wrong and bad situations are going to happen. But it's what we do in that meantime that I think really adds to that. And when you can talk about it, that's why um, he said, "Regret that crap now." Oh, he's saying he regrets it. I believe that's what he's saying. But, it's just one of those things where I've felt from a young age, if you don't have any secrets, nobody can use anything against you. And then that would make you more powerful. Because if people knew your darkest and deepest secrets, then they could always just find a way to use that against you. You know, and I just
100%. Yeah.
feel like maybe, like, for instance, like when I went to the gym, I'm not very strong. I'm a lot weaker than I thought I was, right? And I don't care. I'm doing like 10-pound weights, and I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm just here to make sure that I'm around when I'm 90 years old. I give a
Yeah.
fuck less of all those people that are ripped in that gym. That's good for them. I don't have the discipline to work that hard to get that body. But I'm good with these 10 pounders, you know what I mean? And if people think that I'm like a little pussy because I can't bench 500 pounds, isn't that kind of like the same thing of people thinking I'm a pussy because I, let's say, were to cry and talk about how I feel inside and they're too tough? I just don't see the value in it because at the end of the day, they still have their trauma. The person that talks may not have their trauma and be getting rid of it. It's kind of like the hero dies once, but a coward dies 1,000 times. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah.
Like how I'm comparing it. You know, I just don't understand that this conflict of manliness. Most people have dad bods. A dad bod is a body that is slightly out of, you know, shape. And that's what people
Yeah.
are into. So this looking like a Greek statue kind of died when they were making statues of everybody. You know, America is the
Yeah.
fattest country in the world. I hate to break it to everybody, but it's true. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, but you don't have to be. You don't have to have the manly built body to have the manly mindset. Like you don't have to
why?
be the
When we're
what's
talking
his
about
name
alpha
Wes
males,
Watson. Ah, that's
yeah, like look at
he can
Wes
still be
Watson,
an alpha
great
male
role
and not
model,
be.
by the way,
Yeah.
great guy to look
Right.
up to.
Oh man,
How about
so
the
funny.
timepiece gentleman? He was another great guy.
Oh, unbelievable.
That's what I'm just
Anyways,
saying.
yeah,
Is
like
you
you
have
don't
all
have to
this
be a
opportunity,
meathead
you
to
just
be
fuck
an
people over.
alpha
I don't get
male.
it.
Like you just have to have the mindset of you're a man. And man's better than anything else. That's the manly man. Like men don't tell their secrets. Men don't talk about their feelings. Men just put their heads down and they work. That's the old mindset, and that's what it hasn't. It's not gone yet.
Well, I'm on a mission to change that because
Hey, I'm on that same mission, man.
oh, I know you
100%. I
are.
want that
We all
too.
are.
Like that.
Anybody listening is right
I
here.
talk my feelings. I told you guys I bawled because I came home and had a shitty day at work, and all of a sudden I feel like the CannaScoops my way out. Like I have shitty day. I cry. Like I'm not saying that incident that I had isn't going to affect me down the road. I don't know. It just hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like it might 10 years from now. It might when my granddaughters are that age. I don't know. Right? So it might come back and haunt me. I might wake up or might fall asleep one day, and all of a sudden I'm seeing their faces in my dreams. That seems to be what happens. You never know. So you just got to be aware of it, and that's what I like is that I'm educated about it now. So I know if I do have it, that there's resources out there that I can reach out to, and if it's not professional, there's other people that your contacts. GI there, he's been through it. There's other people. At the So there's other avenues. It's just the people that aren't educated about it, or they're too afraid or manly to talk about their feelings. This is how I feel it.
He said maybe in Canada, the U.S. is a bunch of whiners. It's true. Well, it's
I
easier
don't
to
know.
whine. You know, it's easier to complain than it is to take responsibility and say, oh, maybe I am the problem. Maybe if I looked at myself instead of trying to look at others, I would find what I'm looking for. And that's one thing that I feel like I have found by being honest with myself and taking responsibility and saying, okay, my life is not obviously perfect, but I can make it better,
Absolutely.
you know, and I can choose every day to wake up and make myself excited and make myself passionate and make myself consistent and drive these things forward, because at the end of the day, nobody delivers that shit to you. You're gonna have to come up with a lot of this, especially as you know, being a product and a brand. You're everything right now until people are drinking the purple punch. It all, if you stop, it stops. you know
Yep.
Colonel Sanders had 115 business loan denials before he got approved. If he didn't continue to try, there'd be no competitor to KFC. So it's just one of those things where my favorite quote by Billy Joel in one of his songs, Vienna. Do you know the song?
Mm, yep.
Okay. He says, "You can get what you want or you can just get old. And I would much rather get what I want in life versus getting old."
Yep.
Because one of those things are going to happen. And you don't want to wind up in a home locked away in some state place where they throw away the key. Oh, look. Master Yoda just joined in and he said, "I just got a CannaScoop this weekend and I will tell you, it's like a match made in heaven when I use it with my venti vaporizer." That's my friend who I saved his life.
Thank you, Master Yoda. I appreciate you.
So,
Appreciate you. That's awesome.
yeah, so he thoroughly enjoyed it. And let's do one more
Yeah,
round
like I
here.
said, there's no wrong way to use it. It's however you can use it to make it helpful is how you use it to make it helpful. Yes.
Do you have any dabs?
I don't.
For you guys,
actually, you know what I was gonna
you have
ask?
dispensaries,
Yep.
so you can go med and recreational, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
fucking lucky, dude. I would.
See, that's what I mean. Like medical, the CBD, and there's rarely any CBD flower. Like I oils and edibles don't do much for me. I don't know if it's the enzymes in my stomach that just don't allow anything, so it doesn't help me. So I have to smoke. There's not very much CBD flower in dispensaries, and that's what I rely on because of what I do. Like I'm not gonna go on a call all THC'd up and not knowing what I'm talking about.
I could see you in the
So-
fire suit, and you'd be like this. "Oh fuck, I forgot my lighter," and you just go next to the burning house.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
"Johnny, you got that hose yet?
Let's
Over here,
go.
dying. It's 90 degrees out."
Oh man, it was. I don't even know what the difference would be.
Oh, great,
Fahrenheit.
dude. Thank you.
Hold on, I'll find out. It was
I'd be like, "Listen, it's
28.
gonna be hot in there, and I'm gonna be sweating. Sure, I can't just smoke a joint. I'm gonna be saving the dude's life anyways, so I just might
So
maybe feel better."
Saturday was 82 degrees out, and we had a wildland fire, so grass fire, and we were out there for 6 hours, and I was so bagged. I didn't bring the right gear, so I had my bunker gear on. It was so heavy and so hot. Oh man, I was dragging ass. It was terrible.
When you said
But
that,
yeah,
I could
that's
totally
what I
tell
get to
you were
deal with.
Canadian by your accent.
Guilty.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I don't know how they do that, but I see a lot of them. They just have the pants on, and as long as they're not going in, sometimes they just
that was
wrap
me.
it.
Yeah. Well, in grassland fires, we don't have to wear a bunker gear. We can put on overalls and boots and have at her. So,
Now, do
which
you
I
guys?
guess kind of like the red hats, right? The red hats, you got your pants, shirt, and backpack, basically, right? And helmet.
Hey, those T-shirts are very fitted. I look spectacular.
I am uncomfortable in them.
Yeah, they're tight, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
They want you to look stunning. But no,
Yeah,
100%.
They want to make sure, just in case that calendar shot comes out.
Have you guys ever done a calendar at your station? Is that
Oh
a
man,
thing
I've been
anymore?
pushing for one.
They are.
No, but I want to make one. No, it's not. But I want to make one. I want to bring it back because my dad bod just needs it.
Mm, they deserve it. No, no built guys. We're going to show you the real
No,
heroes.
absolutely. The blue collar.
Now, with your fire station, do a lot of other people smoke as well, or are you kind of like a lone ranger when it comes to THC and all that?
Um, I'm the only one that's really talk. I don't. I'm the only one that talks about it. So I'm the only one that tells people that I do. I've replaced alcohol with cannabis. Um, yeah. Mm, I know. Well, there's a couple guys that do. Yeah, that I know of, but they're not out in the open like I am about it. Like I'll tell my chief that I smoke. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm kind of the
It is
same
what it is.
way.
It's my
I'm
medicine.
just go ahead. Sorry.
I say it is what it is. It's my medicine. If I've had my medical card, I can go get it again. I just don't do it because the prices are just ridiculous. So here, if you have your medical card, you have to buy from the dispenser or the medical dispenser. You can't get it from. I guess you can get it from a recreational, but you can't smoke it outside in public. So in Canada, if you have your medical card, you can smoke it anywhere you want. No one can do anything about it. If you don't have it, you can only smoke in your house or in a private property.
Nice. Yeah,
So
with
we can't
me,
even smoke it. Like we can't smoke in the dispensary. We can't smoke. There's no
now
restaurants.
can
There's
you
no
smoke on the
cafes.
property of the dispensary? Same here.
I guess they do, but they're not supposed to, from what I know
The only dispensary
of
I
the
know that
law.
you can smoke in it legally is Planet 13, and that's in Vegas because they have a whole separate smoking room.
Ventilation.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would love to be able to do it because man, it would be a freaking gold mine where I live here. We've got the North Dakota border is 40 minutes from us, 30 minutes from us, and they're hard no on cannabis. So for tourism, come on up. We'd be the first town that they'd hit with a restaurant that they can come and smoke in. Like, why not? Well, it just makes
That would
sense,
actually be cool.
right?
I need to come
And
up
we're
to
right off the
Canada.
highway, so next time.
Do you guys have an event coming up? Maybe next year I'll take a
Uh,
trip to Canada. I'm trying to get overseas so I can be international.
oh, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, we got tons of events.
Yeah, we'd have to
Yeah,
plan something out.
there's a few coming up. There's one in June, one in August that I know of. There's tons of the conferences that are coming up.
You
What
guys have
else?
Lyft,
It's not
right?
really much. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lyft. There's Grow Up. Um, those are the two bigger ones. And then the other ones are just like independent little ones here and there. Fun stuff.
Yeah. The one in New York I'm pretty excited about because that'll be the first time I'm actually on stage. Usually I just, go to the event, I have a booth or
Yeah.
something like that. So
Oh man.
I'll,
My
yeah.
dream is to go to Champs.
Oh, champs? You should definitely
Oh
come out to
yeah.
Vegas. You should come to MJ BizCon this year.
Yeah. Love
Well,
to. It's just getting the capital to come out there and get the booth and all that stuff. So
Well, I would suggest this. If you're going to come out to MJ BizCon, come out your first time just representing yourself with a backpack full of your merch to give out and have like special QR codes or on it or something like that. And just get a lay of the land because you can do a lot of networking and business without having a booth. And a lot of people do,
yeah.
especially a lot of startup companies or a lot of companies that don't necessarily have a lot of funding. They don't have their booths, but they have their products and all their information on them. And you're around all the right people. So if you meet somebody, you might find an investor right there on the floor, or you might find a partnership right there. and it really only cost you the cost of the ticket and the cost of the plane ticket, so and the lodging. But you can write all that off. But it would be great for you to see that because MJ BizCon, there's just so many people and the ability. That's where, like for instance, Jay from Dry Flower. He signed up for my sponsorship. I met Jay for the very first time at MJ BizCon in December. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
wow.
then got him to sign up. And he's a gold sponsor. So,
Yeah.
the ability to make the connections, and that's why it's so important in this space with you and your product to be rubbing elbows with everybody. Kind of like a liquor salesman. You want your shit in everybody's hand with like a couple free samples here and there because one, it's relatively easy to carry a lot with you so that it's not a lot. It's not like you have to have 20 backpacks to fill up like 100 scoops.
Oh, no.
You know what I
No,
mean?
no. The only
But you
problem,
still get your
only
message
problem
out
is they
there.
last too long.
Yeah. So whenever you're ready. But Champs is a great show. They just actually had their show in New Jersey, I think, or Atlantic City, a couple weeks ago. I was planning on going,
Atlantic
but
City.
yeah, my schedule's been screwed up because I've been very busy, so I haven't been able to travel this year as much as I want. Plus, we have the Grow series going on, so a little bit different platform than the Road Show, but I
Yeah.
definitely need to get overseas.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be dope.
Yeah, well, you got to come to Virginia, dude. I'm gonna have you come, have
Oh,
you
I'd love
sit
to.
down right there in front of me. I'll pick you up from the airport. You can stay at my house, and we'll make it happen.
You can
For
shove the
that one,
old
you
mic
only
stick in
need
my
the cost
face.
of a plane ticket, so that'd be a little bit cheaper. Vegas is
Yeah.
expensive. Can't help you out there. I'm not baller enough to get a
Yeah.
diamond room or even ruby status.
One day.
I'm not a big
One day they'll
gambler,
get there.
so unless they're getting a lot of money from
There.
me.
Is that the ADHD thing? Because I just can't sit down and for that long and want to even think about all that stuff.
My thing is, if I want to gamble, I'm just going to start more companies or invent a product or, spend money or invest money.
Yeah. Hey, I know that one. I know that
See,
feeling.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I like craps. I do good at craps virtually. It took 115,000 up to almost 2 million. And I've won a lot of money on the craps table. My biggest hand is like 230,000 that I've won, but I've also lost a lot of money at the table. Now it's all virtual, so it's not real money.
Shit.
But that's the only really game I like. I don't like cards because I don't understand them. Craps is a little bit better because you can keep your money on the table, and as long as you don't roll 7 or 11, unless you bet on it, you don't lose your money. You just keep making money. So. But Vegas is awesome, dude. You should definitely think about coming out. It's in December, so you got plenty of time. Are you frozen? Did we lose him, guys? Did we lose him? Maybe he'll be calling me and saying, hey. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't get frozen. Bum, bum, bum. You made it back. Hello? 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 Yo.
Sorry about that. My iPad died.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did it not let you in?
No, I can't get back in. It won't.
Try the same link.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, I can send you a new link. Is it working? Bum, bum, bum. Let's go to full screen. Me. What is going on, people? Give us 2 seconds and we'll go ahead and get them back on here. Alright. Try that new link I just sent you. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Are you having trouble? Yeah, I can't even hear you. Alright, well, I can hear you. We'll just wrap it up because the time's up anyways. But, can you log on? Oh, there we go. Nice. Now, is your audio working? Yeah, not hearing you. It doesn't say that you're reading audio. Audio's definitely on. Audio. No. This is unfortunate. Alright. Hold on. This is unfortunate. Kind of almost like daisy chained together. Right here, this black.
I had to talk to a couple of people. I do have some good friends that are on.
Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this. We're going to get Charlie back on. Please go to his website at. Are you there? Can you hear her? Hello? Oops. Boom, boom. Hello. Hello. Okay, I can see your audio. I'm just trying to figure out what is going on here. Try now.
Hello?
All
Can you hear me?
right, we got you
Hey,
back.
right on. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
What's going on?
There we go.
Well, pretty much we're at the end, so we're here to wrap things up. Thank you
Sounds great.
again for being a part of this platform as a smoke sponsor, and thanks for creating an awesome tool. I'll kind of give the floor to you on where we can find you and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and plug up the website real quick. So go ahead for it. Oh wait. Hold on. All right, try again.
Yeah, so this is our website, CannaScoops.ca. Our shop's right there as well. You can pick as many designs as you want. We do packs as well. It's got our how we do what we do and what we're passionate about. We're also on Instagram at CannaScoopIn. We post as much as we can there. I'm not the best at it. I'm trying my hardest to get into the social media marketing stuff, so bear with me. I try to do as much as I can. As well as Facebook. We're on Facebook at CannaScoop in as well. As well as my account, I'm CannaScoop Charlie. Do post some stuff on there as well. Most of the business stuff is on the other Instagram site.
Yep. And as you can see, really great tool for filling. There's it with the king palm. You got your little bowl piece over there. Filling over the grinder is such a great idea to begin with anyways, because then it goes right back in for extra scooping. But bring us back up here. Bam. But no, it is an awesome product. And we have a discount code, right?
Yeah, we're setting one up right now.
Perfect.
We're just trying to figure that out. Yeah, and as soon as we get that, we'll get that out to you guys, to you, Stefan, and you can pass it on. And we'll, yeah, absolutely. And we can't wait to get your designs out. We're looking forward to get those up on the website and see how we can do with that.
Well, it's going to be wonderful, and I really appreciate the opportunity and your time tonight. And I want to encourage everybody right now to go to CannaScoops.com and definitely get a pack and add that to your collection of accessories. You will not be disappointed. And on other news, on Wednesday, I will be leaving from here, Virginia, all the way to California to attend the American Autoflower Cup, which I'm a judge. I'm also the mental health guru. My first official posting clarifying me as a mental health person, which is, I think, pretty awesome. I will be doing a mental health panel. I also have my live podcast. Now, I am going by myself, so this year is going to be a little bit different than last year, only because I don't have my team with me, because Lacey had to stay here, unfortunately. But nonetheless, we are still going to do amazing work. I'm also one of the, did believe I said the judge. And then I'm also speaking my speech, which is really cool. So I'm really excited about that. But that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Make sure to join the Discord, Smokebusters. You can find the link on the website. Love to have you there. We're a very active community. You should definitely join there too, as well. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Have a great one, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Cheers.